Let me listen to the music for a little bit. I advise you to do the same. You know, we're still numb to it all as far as I'm concerned. Numb to it all. Utah and BYU. That should be a quality football game. If you're a Florida State fan, you don't know what a quality football game is anymore. What is going on, Florida State family? Seminole Nation. And of course, the 863 tribe. You know who I am. You know where you're at. And you know what the outcome is every week. I guess at some point you just kind of run out of talking points. You know, like I don't, and I've kind of been this way for a few weeks now. Like I don't know. I come on here, obviously. I enjoy talking to you guys. Hit the like button, of course. Subscribe, share, helmet sticker. The only those helmet stickers are on there from last year, Joe. You recall I was away in Korea for 9 months. So I never took the helmet stickers off. If it was up to me, that helmet wouldn't even have a damn spear on it. It wouldn't even be gold. It would be a white helmet. That's what the helmet should be. And not the all whites. Oh, no. A faded, dirty white helmet is what it should be. Not one helmet sticker this year. And who the hell deserves a helmet sticker? Again, hit the like button, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. I'll let you guys please, in the chat, tell me what you want to talk about. Like, give me a topic and we'll run with it. Because at this point, I damn sure don't want to talk about the game I just watched. I mean, we can. I don't want to talk about Fitz. I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about Fitz. Facts. Plastic face mask. Bird cage at that. Plastic bird cage face mask. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. You know, Joe, yeah, I can't even do it. Like, I would love to come in here and troll. Florida got there. I mean, I can't say anything about Florida getting beat down because we just, boys put a 50 burger on us and we scored all the 3 points. What was the final score of the game? I just had it on in the background. I stopped watching it. I honestly, I had it on in the background. I stopped watching the game. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I know they got a late pick, which would have been 50 something. Not in the mood to do math right now. Phoenix says, let's talk about candidates to replace Norvell. We can definitely do that. But like I was saying, I would love to come in here and troll the Gators. Can't do it. I would love to come in here and troll the Hurricanes. Can't do it. At this point, your coach. I mean, that's really what we should be talking about. Everything should be directed at the head football coach. I don't care about how Luke played. I don't care about how Brock played. Frankly, neither one of them are ready to play, especially Luke Kromenhoek. Luke Kromenhoek shouldn't even be on the field. 52 to damn 3. Luke Kromenhoek shouldn't even be on the field, guys. When we recruited Luke, we knew he was a project. Talented project, highly rated project, but a guy who only played 2 years of high school, quarterback, converted safety. We knew it was going to take time. Unfortunately, our misevaluation of the quarterback room has led to what we're at. Your head coach continues to embarrass not only himself, the players. See, BYU and Utah looks like a good game. Like BYU, a playoff. Like, look at the playoff picture. Can we talk about just some general college football stuff? Because again, I should take these colors off, but I ain't gonna do it. Right now, like your playoff picture is looking like teams like Indiana, BYU, Boise State. Imagine that. Imagine the first time a 12-team playoff, you got teams like Indiana, BYU, and Boise State in the mix. The SEC wide open as Georgia goes down to Ole Miss. Like, who's going to win? Texas still has to be the favorite, but if Texas faces Georgia again in a championship, but it looks like Bama might get another Texas-Bama matchup. I don't know. A lot of good football being played around the country, and then you go to Tallahassee, and there's a circus in town, and Mike Norvell is the lead clown, and he's running the damn circus. Have a drink, by the way, if that's something you indulge in. Have yourself an adult beverage, because I know I am. And by the way, I'm not drinking because of this team. Yeah, Dupree, Hundo, SMU. Like, SMU has a shot to legitimately win the ACC. Think about that. Like, man, what a weird year of college football. Like some of the teams that are involved in the big mix. I think Indiana. Indiana's one of the top 2 stories in all of college football. You know what the second top story is? I think Colorado Buffaloes. Shout out to Coach Prime. Look like he might get a BYU Colorado Big 12 championship. And then that winner of that, Colorado's in the playoff picture, guys. Some of y'all might not want to admit it, but Colorado is in the playoff picture. You know? So again, there's some good football being played around the country. I think parity is a real thing. I think the portal has definitely diverse the college football landscape. Indiana, I think, I know a lot of people want to. Dion brings that luster. I get that. I think Indiana's the best story in the like Indiana. The Indiana Hoosiers, man, are arguably the best team in the Big Ten. I don't even know if they play Oregon. I don't even know if Indiana plays Oregon in the regular season. Somebody can check that schedule for me. I have no idea. But, man, look at that. Like, Indiana might be a playoff team, bro. It's incredible. I would advise anybody to watch those. Find you a second team, man. I know this is college football, and it's different in college football. We tend to stick to our roots. You know, I'm the same way. I don't really have a second team. And in a lot of ways, I don't feel like you should have a second team when it comes to college football. Die-hard fan bases over here. But I can't advise anybody to watch this clusterfuck of a football team. I can't advise you to do this. Grand Champion says, yo, I ain't lying. Everybody got to go. Everybody's got to go. Literally from head coach to water boys, sign callers. Hell, I need to be fired too as a fan and alumni. I know they say that it is too expensive to fire Mike Norvell, but I think it hurts more if we keep him. He's too nice to fire anyone and too nice to bench older guys. Alfred really going to sit back and let this continue. People spitting stuff already, saying he can't make changes. That's other people. There's other people with say so. Well, at any major college program, there's definitely other people with say so. To be honest with you, Tony, this isn't just a Mike Alfred thing. This is most college programs in the country. Let me turn some music down a little bit. I feel like it's a little drowning me out here a little bit. I kind of want some background, but I don't want that loud. What I was saying is, ADs are a lot of times just the figurehead, but your major check cutters are the guys who's making decisions. I'd be very curious to see what those big time boosters. I'm curious to know what their thought process is. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Indiana, Ohio State, that's going to be a hell of a game. Mike has lost a team at this point. There's no point. Yeah. As you can see, guys, I'm just going through comments because what do we want to talk about? The fact that this is just a clown show. Every weekend, we tune in to watch the circus. We don't tune in to watch a football game. You tune in to watch the most inept offense you've ever seen in your life. That's what you tune into, in case you haven't come to that realization. An offensive line that is let's start here. I mean, it's a bye week, so luckily for everybody involved, everybody in this chat, everybody involved, luckily you don't have to sit through a game next week. You can actually watch a decent football game, or you can go out and spend time with loved ones, go get you a hobby, work on your car, mow the grass, put something on the grill, put something in the smoker. I don't know. Whatever that hobby is, play video games, whatever it is you do, go do that next weekend instead of watching this. But the point I'm getting to is this is a bye week, and then the following game is a Charleston Southern team that I think has the exact same record as you at 1-9. If you're not going to do, people are talking about sending a message, making changes. I'm watching other programs, and I don't know what's the point. I don't understand what's the point of not sending a message at this point. No, is firing whoever going to drastically change the next two games? Absolutely not. You will probably beat Charleston Southern. And that's at this point, that's a 50-50 ball game. You will lose to the Gators. That's about guaranteed. You will finish this season 2-10. If you're lucky. 1-11 is an extreme possibility. You might as well get a head start, if for nothing else, to send a message to the potential players on this football team next year. Talking about portal guys, all these people, which this team will be mainly made up of the transfer portal. We can talk about recruiting maybe later. There's not really much to talk about there. You might as well send the message now. You might as well cut bait. Let guys get a head start on their potential next job. Recruiting's all but done. We're in early November, which will soon be mid-November. Signing day is early, I think December 4th. Okay, so signing day is literally a couple weeks, few weeks away. They're not making some drastic change here, or they're not making some drastic leap in recruiting right now. Fire the guys who you need to fire. Fire them. You know the wide receiving class is dead. Fire them. Fire everybody. And as far as I'm concerned, I don't think Solomon Thomas comes here anyway. So you might as well, at this point, the way the offensive line has been built, evaluated, coached, put together, I don't care about that recruiting class at this point. FSU needs an entirely clean slate because at this point, you're restarting the entire thing over regardless. I was at one point saying I don't think FSU fires more than 3 or 4 coaches. I don't know if anybody's job is safe at this point, and nobody's job should be safe. I think a complete tear down to the studs is what's needed. I think it's cheaper. It's cheaper to it's obviously it's cheaper to just fire the entire staff, get a whole new staff. Yeah, that's going to be a couple $1,000,000, but it's still cheaper. It ain't going to be $65 million worth. And we only talking about the 65 mil. That's just for the buyout. That's not even counting the money that you would have to pay to hire the new coach and his staff. You're talking about an $80 million rebuild, $90 million rebuild alone if you fire Mike Norvell. I wish I had the money because I wish I had 80 million to blow because I'd do it. I would do it here and now. Obviously, I don't. But it's vastly cheaper to fire that entire coaching staff. Vastly cheaper. I'm assuming you're talking about his post-game presser. At this point, is anybody watching those? Damn, Bama put the beat down on LSU. That game wasn't even worth watching. But is anybody even watching a Mike Norvell press conference? Shout out to you, Briley, if you're paying attention to that, because they need to sit everyone and play the new guys. The new guys, the freshmen have been playing. I don't know if you watch. I mean, Kai Bates gave up the touchdown. True freshman. I mean, the freshmen have been playing, man. Freshmen have absolutely been playing. Like, this isn't a player. It's not a player problem. Believe it or not, I know that's going to sound crazy to some, because when you watch Jeremiah Byers, but again, I said this weeks ago, and I'm going to continue to say it. I'm past the point of blaming players. I'm no longer going to blame Jeremiah Byers. I've called Jeremiah Byers trash for 2 years, so that's irrelevant. Why hasn't Jeremiah Byers ever been benched? Why has he continued to play? I'm past the point of blaming insert player here. We're past that. I'm past that. We can continue to talk about players if you want to, but I'm past that. The fact that you don't have anybody to bench Jeremiah Byers for is the problem. And yeah, I'm just going to pick on Byers because he shouldn't. He's terrible. He's absolutely terrible. And they've tried to sell this dream that he's been a quality player for too long. He's terrible. He's been terrible. He's terrible from the first time I saw him. And that was in the spring game 2 years ago. It was terrible. Right. It's there's what I want and what I think is plausible or probable, I should say. If I had to put money on it, I don't think they fire Fuller. But at this point, again, I think everybody should be fired. And again, I'll say it again, people's anger is directed to the wrong person. We can talk about Fuller all we want. Sure, defense third and Fuller. It's a thing, just like a third and Kelly. Fuller's defense is what Fuller's defense is. Again, if I'm Adam Fuller, there's no way Mike Norvell can look me in the face when he has fielded an historically bad offense. Not just historically bad offense in FSU's history. In the history of college football, he's wielding one of the most historically bad offenses. And Mike Norvell's going to look at Adam Fuller? If I'm Fuller, I wish Mike Norvell had the audacity to say a word to me. When you're the offensive guru. So, I mean, your anger can be pointed to Fuller. I'm past talking about players. I'm past talking about position coaches. Mike Norvell is the problem. He fielded all of this. He's allowed all of this to take place. What more needs to be said? We lose Trammell to Florida. I don't care about Trammell, to be quite honest with you. That's not a guy that I was extremely high on and thought he was terrible. Okay, whatever. Recruiting. Everybody knew this recruiting class was going to completely fall. So that's irrelevant to me. Shout out for Maidenville to $10. He says, got 10 on your NIL. Keep grinding and hit that portal hard. I appreciate you.
Clickety clank, the money goes into my piggy bank.
Still don't get why Early not playing. I would love to know why Early didn't play a snap this game. Take what you want from PFF. I know some people live and die by it. I'm one of the people that I think the formula for PFF has gotten better over the years. I'm not 100%. I'm still not 100%. Like, PFF is not the Bible. So again, take what you want. But for the entire year, Early, not only do I think Early is your highest graded O lineman, I think he's the highest graded offensive player on the year. I was just reading comments, but yeah, I mean that's where we're at, right? We're at the talking point of the head coach, right? And the only other coach that I would give serious attention to is Alex Atkins at this point, the offensive coordinator. So he's also responsible for this historically bad offense and this historically bad offensive line. I'm watching O linemen. Look, don't take offense to this, anybody. Some of this is going to be said in jest, but some of this is going to be real. If you have thin skin, you may not like this. I'm just giving you, this is a warning. We made an entirely white defensive line for Notre Dame look like J.J. Watt was at every single position. Did Notre Dame have one brother on the D-line? Oh, Notre Dame ain't have a Mexican, a Samoan. They had a bunch of white boys on the entire D-line, and we couldn't line up across from them and put a hand on him. What did we give up? 8 sacks tonight? 4 of those came from like one guy. This dude looked like J.J. Watt, man. Prime Houston Texans J.J. Watt. Had white boys out here looking like Aaron Donald. Like, come the hell on, bro. Atkins should be embarrassed. Those players should be embarrassed. Like, that was... I gotta take a drink. Someone tell me I'm lying, bro. Someone tell me that I'm lying. I didn't see one brother on the D line. So someone tell me I'm lying, man. That wasn't that Atkins should not be. Atkins should have to find his own way home. To hell with getting on a plane. He shouldn't have been let back in the locker room after the game. Like, come on, man. How does that happen? And to be serious, and not about white or black or nothing, but to be completely serious, how the hell does your offensive line not be able to even put hands on guys? You got 300-pounders on your O-line too, and they look like 190-pound wide receivers out there against grown men. Our O-line looks like a JV high school O-line against a college defensive line. Like, that's how bad it looks. Seriously. Like a guy like Jacob Rizzi, in my opinion, he probably should have been playing all year because he's the only guy I'm looking at on that O-line, and I'm going, okay, he played decent. But that's been the theme with this. That's been the theme with this staff. That's been the theme with this team all year. It's personnel. I 100% believe they don't know how to evaluate their own players. Because we routinely see certain players at least show flashes of competence. And we sit back and then we ask, well, where has he been the entire season? Where has Rizzi been the whole year? In all seriousness, where's he been? Where's Rizzi been the entire year? No 850 with the $20. I appreciate you. He says, you're my dude. You're my dude, Polk. I want players that want to ball out no matter NIL deals. Armella must be super bad. I promise you I'm going to finish reading this. But just that name. Armella must be super bad to not put him in. Byers has been super bad. I appreciate you, 850. You just triggered me, so we're going to cook. In honor of Miami losing to Georgia Tech, I got a little something. Bitch, be humble. Sit down. Be humble. Sit down. You just triggered me. I don't give a damn. I don't know how bad Armella is. You can't convince me, guys. I'm watching Terrence Ferguson every week. 69. Suck. I'm watching the Andre Otto, who's just not ready to play, get whooped. I'm watching Byers, 63, again, who's been trash since the moment he stepped foot on this campus. I watch these guys every week. Suck. And Julian Armella, he has to be a special type of bad. He's got to be. Julian Armella has to be the worst football player of all time. That he can't get any kind of burn on an O-line that is atrocious across the board. But again, I don't think this coaching staff knows what they're looking at in practice. I honestly don't. I think the proof's in the pudding. These people don't know what they're looking at. They don't know what they're looking at. Yeah, Sam's. I agree. Sam's a nice piece. I agree with you. You get a decent O line. I mean, the man runs hard, plays hard. Like they're young players, you know. And I said it before, man. There's young players, man, who they show some promise. I think they want to be here. Um, they show some grit, all that good stuff. Wholeheartedly believe that. I don't believe 8 played at all. I don't know if Norvell was asked that, but I didn't see 8. I don't know if that's injury thing or a bench. Have no clue, but I don't recall seeing him. Utah might upset BYU. Still early in the game, though. Still early in the game. You know, we can talk about this because this is a valid conversation to have. But again, this just goes back to coaching. It's 100% goes back to coaching. And I've been speaking about this for all year. We don't make things easy. Like you have two vastly inexperienced quarterbacks. You have one guy who, again, shouldn't even be on the football field in Luke Kromenhoek. Like he should literally be sitting down learning. The biggest problem with Luke, people say, well, he just takes sacks. Yeah, he takes sacks because he can't process how fast the game is going. He can't process. Luke shouldn't be playing football right now. Luke should be learning the position. Luke don't even know how to play the quarterback position. He should be sitting down, learning behind somebody, watching a lot of film, getting in the weight room, getting bigger, faster, stronger. You know, all those things that we talk about when we talk about development, right? But if you're going to play these young guys, you have no choice at this point to play Brock Glenn. You're going to play Luke Kromenhoek. Our route designs, our concepts they don't help the young quarterback at all. You want to know why the pick six happened? Because FSU, the only pass they could complete on the entire night was a pass to the running back in the flat. And Notre Dame finally sat down on it and said, we know what's coming. Pick six. Because oh my God. And like I'm at a loss of words for me to even try to explain it. I'm watching wide receivers trips on one side or two receivers and a tight end, whatever, on one side, and every last receiver runs out route. Out. Everybody goes this way. Nobody slants across the middle. Nobody runs the out, quick slant, maybe a deep post or deep out. I don't know. Something to spread the defense out. You want to know why the quarterbacks can't complete passes and why everybody looks covered? Some of that has to do with the fact that our wide receivers aren't great route runners, so they can't really get a lot of separation. But a lot of that has to do with they run every wide receiver in the exact same direction and bunch them all up on one side of the field, and you're asking the quarterback to find an open man. Go watch the route tree. It's atrocious. It's absolutely god-awful. We ran a reverse flea flicker in this game. Go watch the routes on the reverse flea flicker. They didn't even run anybody deep. The deepest route, I believe, was Benson, and he ran like a 10-yard in. Yeah, two receivers over here. I think Benson over here. The two receivers they're bunched up in the same side of the field, and Benson's. Just go watch the routes. Go watch. Unless you're telling me the receivers are just out there running whatever route they want to run, They're running what they're being told to run. I'm pretty convinced about that much. Like just go watch it, man. And that's not even on Dugan's as far as the route tree. That's on the guy who schemes up the offensive plays. That's on the play design. The play design is trash. The play design is absolutely atrocious. And I talked about this last week when we watched or when I talked about Miami and Duke and how I said it's not a knock, but Miami and Duke they run a bunch of quicks for a 3rd and 3. I don't know. Get a guy out wide, quick slant, easy pass for a quarterback potentially. Nope, we don't do it. So we don't run any digs, no slants. Our just everything we do offensively is so head scratching, and you wonder why again these quarterbacks are struggling. You wonder why. Quarterback can't. There's no easy passes for it. You're asking these guys like you're asking these young quarterbacks to, your O line can't block. So you're calling routes that take time to develop, but your O line can't block it for the route to develop. And then you don't make any easy throws for the quarterback. The easiest throw you make is the only throw they could complete. And at some point, you think you got to have another trick in your bag, or a defense will eventually catch on and get a pick six. For some reason, and I know this is going to sound crazy, right? But for some reason, the first 3, 4 games, 5 games of the season, what did we do? We were screening teams to death, and it didn't work. When DJU was a quarterback, we ran a ton of screens. But for some reason, with these young quarterbacks who could probably use the screen game, we don't run them. We don't do anything quick for Luke Kromenhoek and Brock Glenn. So when Luke Kromenhoek goes back there and takes sack after sack after sack, yeah, that's on him. But again, he doesn't know he doesn't know how to play the position. He should be on the bench. And your offensive play caller has zero clue of how to make it easy on these guys. I watch a lot of football, and I watch a lot of offensive callers simplify the offense that a quarterback can at least execute some basic stuff, and we don't do that. We don't do that. That's the problem, Vontae. But that's what I was just saying. How many times do we bunch guys right up? You can't. Hell, good quarterbacks are hardly going to be able to throw in those type of windows, let alone Brock Glenn and Luke Kromenhoek. Yes, he was a safety. What happens to DJU? Who cares what happens to DJU? Go sell insurance. That's what happens to DJU. Luke and his father threatened the portal. Haven't heard that. Maybe I haven't heard that. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of rumors circulating around. Maybe he has, maybe he hasn't. I would hope he doesn't. Like, I'm not one of those people that are ready to give up on some of these players. Again, this ain't a player thing. This is a coaching thing. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Luke has a future. Brock Glenn has a future. It may not be at Florida State. Well, we don't know. Yeah, BYU might get ran out of the building here, guys. But Luke's problems aren't that Luke sucks. Hell, Brock Glenn's problem isn't, it's that neither one of these guys were recruited to be day one guys. Great question. Sheila B says, "Do we not have enough deep pocket boosters to pay Norvell's buyout?" I believe uh, most of these big time universities have the money to do what they want to do when they want to do it. If you're asking me, can Florida State pay the buyout? Sure, they could pay it. The question would be, would they be willing to pay it? And here's the problem. Here's probably one of the bigger problems, or the main issue. You got to fire Mike. That's fine. But like I talked to about at the beginning of the stream, what that cost is going to be to not only hire a new coach and a new staff is going to be fairly steep, especially because if you're going to fire Mike Norvell, you cannot. I said this after Willie Taggart. You don't fire Willie in the manner that you fire him and go hire Mike Norvell. But that's what we did. Well, damn it, there's no way you don't fire Mike Norvell and then go hire whoever from Tulane, or you get what I'm saying? Like at this, you tried it with Norvell, you tried it with Willie to a lesser degree. Taggart, I would say Taggart and Norvell were kind of in the same. Taggart had 1 year at Oregon, and that wasn't even a great year at Oregon. At this point, did you just watch Lane Kiffin beat Georgia today? Like, that's who you. I'm not saying Lane Kiffin is the guy you go hire, but I wouldn't be mad. And two, it has to be somebody like that. It's got to be somebody that can come up and invigorate boosters, shake up the program, invigorate the fan base, invigorate players in the state of Florida. Like, kids got to go look and say, oh, snap, Florida State just hired Lane Kiffin, Deion Sanders. I want to go play for that. It can't be Florida State just went and hired Mickey Snoggenbach from wherever. I don't know anything about him. He was a good coach at Chungawunga State University, but he doesn't have any ties in the state of Florida. So it's kind of you have to go hire a big name that people know and people want to play for if you're going to fire Mike Norvell. And that costs money. And FSU has money tied up in stadium renovations right now, football-only facility right now, court with the still battling the ACC in court. Like it's easy to say all these things, but we're not the ones spending this money. Do people have money to burn? I'm sure they do. It's just depending on how much they want it. I agree. Actually, I agree with that. As solid of a coach as I think Rhett Lashley is, you don't fire Mike to go hire Rhett Lashley from SMU. I agree with that. I get Rhett's doing great things at SMU. Rhett will probably be, because I don't expect him to stay at SMU long. No, SMU has some money, and they're in a good recruiting hotbed there in Dallas. If Rhett wants to stay there long term at SMU, make himself a name, and maybe make that program like what it was 40 years ago before the death penalty hit him, it might be possible. But Rhett's not the guy that you fire Mike for. And again, I think Rhett's a solid coach. But again, it's got to be a name, man. It's got to be a name that's going to generate, and I've been critical of Deion, specifically the way he decided to build a roster. But I thought Colorado was extremely smart when they hired him, and said as much, and was excited to watch him at Colorado. Where I was turned off with Deion was, again, how he decided to build that roster. I didn't think that was a smart way. 2 years in, What the hell do I know? He's Deion Sanders. He knew what the hell he was doing, apparently. But but the best, but despite what they're doing right now, it doesn't even matter. If Deion Sanders had won 4 games again this year, like he did last year, it was still an incredible hire by Colorado, just from the sheer fact of all of the money he's generated, being on TV, who he's been having on site. Like, we can't deny that that was a smart hire. FSU's got to hire something similar, man. I'm not saying it's Deion. At this point, I'll take Deion over Mike 100 times out of 100. The point is, it's just got to be a name. Hell, can you get Nick Saban out of retirement? Like, give me that. Like, if you want to talk coaching hot board, in no particular order, Nick Saban, Lane Kiffin, Deion Sanders. That's who you should be targeting. You should be trying to get Nick Saban out of retirement if you can. Get Lane Kiffin out of Ole Miss, which I think he would take the job. Deion's probably the longest shot because I've heard bridges have been burnt there. But Mike Alford, ties with the Cowboys. We know Deion has ties with the Cowboys. Is that a relationship that could be massaged out? Could they talk? I don't know. It might be possible. No. Again, no. And look, I get what Manny's doing over there at Duke. I get all of that. I think Manny's second stint as a coach is going to be better than his first stint as a head coach. But no, again, I gave you my top 3. Like, it's got to be those top 3. It can't be Manny. And I like Manny. And I've kind of been on the record. T, I got you. Give me a second, T. I've been on record that I want FSU's next head coach to be a defensive-minded guy. I believe that's our identity, or at least should be our identity as a program. And I like Manny. I like his aggressiveness as a defensive. But again, you're not going to pay. You don't pay $65 million buyout to hire Manny Diaz. I'm sorry, Momo. You just don't do that. Like I said, I gave you my top 3. And if you have another top 3, I'm down to hear it. I hear people with the Dan Lanning thing, not necessarily against it. I'd be probably I'm probably interested to see how Lanning finishes this year with Oregon. Right? But he's got him cooking. Give me 1 second, T, as I try to send you this link. Give me a second, guys. I'm send this link. My bad, guys. Trying to log in so I can send this link. All right, Terrence sent. All right, back to what we were saying. My bad. You don't pay $65 million, man, for Manny Diaz. Now, if you want to bring Manny, now Manny's not going to not be a DC. Like he's not going to leave Duke to be a defensive coordinator again. But if you could do that, then I would take that all day. Again, having a great year at Indiana, man. Again, I think they're the best story in college football. Does that guy have any ties to the state of Florida? No, my top three is my top three. Y'all ain't really going. You're not gonna push me off of that. I'll tell you that. Take Lane Kiffin. Lane just beat you. BS. I don't know why you think, bro. That's Mississippi, bro. It's Ole Miss. Yeah, I know he just beat Georgia. That's gonna be the highlight of his career at Ole Miss. You think he's ever gonna win anything at Ole Miss? No, it's Ole Miss. He would leave Ole Miss to coach in the state of Florida. I 100% believe that. 100% believe that. Just because he beat Georgia at Ole Miss don't mean anything. But the culture of FSU allows Deion. I'm not even sure what the culture of FSU is. What does that mean? What do you mean? Does that allow Deion? Deion Sanders is FSU. If we want to be real, that guy that's on the wall behind me, that wearing number 9, and all the flash he played with, who you think probably inspired that? Who you think inspired that guy on the wall behind me? Deion Sanders is Florida State in terms of the culture. I mean, he's the one who brought that. And this isn't me capping for Deion, or I'm just saying, like, all this talk about culture, the culture goes out the window when you're winning or losing football games. You think Mike Norvell has a great culture in the locker room right now? At 1-9? Do you think Lanning turned down that Bama job? Listen, Bama did. Lanning didn't turn down Bama. Mike Norvell didn't turn down Bama. That Sexton, who I believe is the agent for both of those coaches, played both programs. Bama knew who they wanted from the jump, and they got who they wanted. They wanted DeBoer, they got him. They didn't want Lanning, they didn't want Norvell. Lanning did not turn down that job. Do not believe that hype. Y'all can keep the Jeremy Pruitt stuff. No. There's nothing about Jeremy Pruitt that would hell no. I don't know why y'all can keep Jeremy Pruitt. Please keep Jeremy Pruitt over there. You're not seeing this dude as a head coach? Like, stop the foolishness. Come on, guys, give me real names. Chip Kelly, I'd entertain the Chip Kelly thing. I would entertain it. The Jeremy Pruitt thing, you throw that out the window. Kiffin would leave. Like, y'all, I don't know why. This isn't a knock on Guy. I know some of you guys are younger college football fans, so you don't really. Bro, it's Ole Miss. Like, don't get it confused. It's Ole Miss. They're having a good year. Yes, they just beat Georgia. It's Ole Miss. This isn't some prestigious college football program that's got a. This isn't a blue blood. This isn't a program that's got a long list of natties. Hell, how many SEC titles do they? It's Ole Miss. You beat Georgia this weekend. They may very well go out there and lose next week. I don't know who they play next week, but it's Ole Miss. Stop this thing about Kiffin wouldn't leave Ole Miss. He would absolutely leave Ole Miss. Kiffin in more ways than one has at many times since he's been at Ole Miss, like politic for other jobs. Kiffin would leave Ole Miss. Stop it. As far as Lanning, Oregon has a bad track record with keeping coaches. I think Lanning's probably at Oregon for the long haul. Everything's on the bright side there. He probably would be foolish to leave Oregon. But this nonsense about Kiffin wouldn't leave Ole Miss is ridiculous. Mark Stoops, again, ultimately, would I be pissed off at a Mark Stoops hire? No. I still think the train's passed on the Mark Stoops thing. Again, that was the guy you should have hired 5 years ago. At this point, he does have the Florida ties. Maybe he could put the staff together around him. Mark Stoops would be the safest hire, in my opinion. I don't know if it's the hire that moves major needles, but it would be a safe hire. This is interesting. Now, this is coming from War Chant. As you guys know, I'm just a light-skinned dude on YouTube. I do not report news. I simply give my opinion on news, and I'm going to take Marcus at his word because he said War Chant just said this. If Mike doesn't fire an assistant coach within the next 24 to 36 hours, so basically, if there's not a coach fired Sunday or Monday, that could be a sign that Norvell's out of here. I don't know where they're getting that from. I don't know how the two correlate. I'd be interested to hear how him not firing an assistant correlates with him also being out. Not sure. But that's interesting. But let me bring T in.
Yo.
What's up?
So to touch on that, I think what they're saying basically is that if he doesn't, he's probably going to finish out the season and he's not going to come back next season. So like he doesn't have a reason to fire them.
You think he would step? So you think he just would step? You think he would leave $60 million on the table and step down?
No, I think they're gonna. I think he's.
You think
it'll come down to is yeah. Now I don't think that's a smart thing to do.
You don't think it's smart to fire him? You don't think in.
Bro, this ain't Texas.
Texas.
We ain't got no donors for to throw $60 million out
there. Now, reverse. If they're talking about fire him, then they have the money. You can say, well, this ain't Texas or this ain't whatever. If they're actively talking about it, then the money is there.
And then, all right, so if that's the case, then you also need to have money to go get one of those three guys you talked about.
Again, if they're acting like we're taking what Mark is putting here as a grain of salt, because again, this is all hypotheticals. Mm-hmm. But if this is an actual conversation that's taking place behind the scenes, then obviously they got the money to fire him and the money to hire somebody. Yeah. So the money's there. But like I said, my top three are my top three. I don't know if you got a top three, Terrence, but those are my top three. I said it better
myself. That's it. That's the three.
You get Saban out of retirement, you go get Lane, or you again try to smooth that stuff.
Now, mind you, Deion is ahead of Lane on my list. But
Deion would be ahead of Lane on my list. I don't know.
Probability, I get why you listed it.
They're probably even. My only reservation on Lane is that'd be hiring another offensive coach that likes to call plays. Mm-hmm. But at least for Lane, it works. Jimbo, it did work until it didn't. Willie never really worked here. It worked at USF, never really worked here. So
And obviously, it didn't work.
I like Dion from the perspective of he's going to run it like a business. It's going to be a CEO, and he's going to go hire. And he's going to hire. Yeah, he's going to hire NFL guys. That's what I like about Dion.
He's not even a head. He doesn't.
And Nick Saban's going to. And Nick Saban's going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, Dion's not a head coach. He's a face. He runs a business, like you said. Like, well, he ain't the one out there really like. He's not a play caller, like he on either side. So,
what about James Franklin?
I mean, why not? I get. I mean, but like you said, that's six. If you're gonna go and spend this money and fire him for $60 million, like
you got to make that money back. You got to make that money back as fast as possible. I don't know if James Franklin's the guy that makes that money back.
Hey,
and then
Odell gets a win.
And then you look at James Franklin and you go, well, good coach.
Can't beat Michigan.
Right. Can't beat Michigan. Can't beat. You've never been able to win the big game. Like, that's who you're going to go hire? So, yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much what it comes down to. You gotta go get a big.
Lincoln Riley, not a Florida, not a fit.
Please, no. God, no.
No, not a fit.
Please, no.
Not a fit. What do you think about Chip Kelly? We're just spitballing, Coach.
Chip Kelly,
by the way, there's no reason to talk about the game. So we're not talking about the game. Right now, we're just talking about getting Norvell's ass up out of here. And I guess who will we hire? So you say no to Chip Kelly?
No. I'm 1,000% with you. I don't want an offensive-minded coach.
Okay, so what about Stoops? Everybody, I see a lot of people talking about Stoops. That was a hire I would have loved, again, 5 years ago. I just don't know if that's the hire right now.
You gotta make some headlines, bro. Ain't no there like it's. I don't think Stoops makes a headline. Like for all the idea that Lane is an offensive minded coach, which he is. He also has that CEO mindset. Like as far as he's from that. Yeah.
We're absolutely not paying Taggart. My bad. But
I don't know why
got to tell the truth. We're not paying Taggart. That's been done.
He's good to go.
Yeah.
Now we might be paying Norvell for the next.
Might be paying Norvell for the next 10 years.
10 years.
But we're not paying Taggart anymore.
Hey, the question: if we are paying for the next 10 years and we happen to win a national championship in that time, does he get a ring?
Hell no.
I'm just wondering. He on the payroll, like, just wondering.
You think Saban's done? I'm not so sure he's done.
Nah, he's not done.
I'm not so. I think he's done unless the right job comes along. Like he's done. He's done for now. Like Saban's not going to end up at Mississippi State, right? He's not. No.
He could end up at Florida State.
But if the Gators wanted to kind of kick the wheels and see if he's interested. If Florida State was
Notre Dame called,
I don't think he would take Notre Dame.
Really?
I don't. Yeah, because of the restrictions with the academics. I don't think Nick Saban would take that.
Okay.
But if like Urban, if Ryan Day, if Ohio State gets sick of Ryan Day always losing to Michigan, a job like that, I think Nick Saban would highly consider it. But you could be right. Nick Saban might be done.
I doubt it though. And I don't know why people keep saying Dan Lanning. Like,
I want to see Lanning do it. One, true. Why would he leave? And I would like to see Lanning do it longer. Like, win something.
He wins a national championship, which they have a shot at doing this year.
Yeah, they look pretty good.
Why? Like, the money's gonna start flowing even more. National championship, man. They're gonna start breaking out the real nice uniforms instead of them ugly like them ugly green ones. That light green they got.
Kentucky fans would thank you for hiring Mark Stoops. I don't know why they would when. And when's Kentucky football ever been good? Like, I don't know if Kentucky has this delusion about them that by getting rid of Mark Stoops, their program's going to elevate. Like, Mark Stoops has had that program the best it's probably ever been. So what's this thing about Kentucky all of a sudden thinking?
Hey, I got a question. So if Saban did come back, is like somebody just mentioned Jimbo as that's coming back, running it back. I don't want that. Would you take Jimbo back as OC?
With Saban as the coach. That's a deadly combination now.
How much money is that? Let's check the
Jimbo back in the state of Florida with Nick Saban.
As a it just all you gotta do is worry about the offense.
Tell Mario, count your days, big dog, because we recruiting that shit. At a minimum, I don't know what the offense gonna look like, but we gonna recruit.
Hey, he's gonna recruit.
We're gonna recruit.
That recruiting gonna recruit, but
we might need a co-OC because I don't know if Jimbo need to be calling plays. He can design the plays. Maybe I want somebody else calling them, but.
And I mean, yeah, you want a guy who's gonna make some headlines, man.
So if you want to talk realistically, again, I don't think Norvell gets fired. But hiring that UNLV guy, I think has to be top priority. Like, what's his name? Brandon Manning, I think that's his name. Am I saying that right?
Come on.
That has to be top priority. And yeah, I think at this
Bob
point
Stoops?
you gotta. But it's like a million Stoops, bro. It's like they're like the Harbaughs, bro.
But wait, but Bob Stoops still. Wasn't he the Oklahoma coach back in 2000?
Yeah, he was. I don't know why Bob Stoops would be your DC.
I think that was you just made a mistake there.
Saban's done. He's pushing 80. How old is Saban? Is he in the
Saban ain't no damn 80 years old.
I don't think he's even close to 80.
If he was 80 and he talking like that, boy, Lou Holtz need to figure some stuff out.
I think he's in his low. I think Saban. I'll look it up real quick. I think he's in his low 70s, though. I do think he's about 70.
73.
Okay, so he's not pushing.
We just need him here for 5 years.
Yeah, and I don't mean. And Saban is the best 70-looking-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, like, come on, Saban. Al Golden. Ooh, y'all are just saying names at this point. And I get it because everybody's done with Norvell. So we said, somebody said we need Al Bundy. We need, bro, give me Herman Boone.
Herman Boone.
Give me Coach Boone, baby. Over my football, you run a mile.
I break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts, and then you will run a mile.
Perfection.
Oh man! Oh, it's like Pete Carroll. Now Pete Carroll about 80.
Pete's old, yeah.
Pete Carroll old as dirt. Yeah, he's 73 too.
Okay, let's talk about this because you might have missed me when I said this. Almighty, no, and that's not a knock on Rhett. I think Rhett's a solid coach. You're not paying $65 million. That's just. Think about it. That's just for Mike. The $65 million is just for Mike. You still got to buy out the assistants as well. You're talking about an $80 million buyout, all considered. You're not gonna go hire Rhett Lashley, bro. If it's not a name that moves the needle, if it's not a name that you can recoup that money in a couple years. Rhett Lashley, good, solid young coach, but you got to go get a name.
And just everybody keeps talking about the age of guys like somebody like Saban, bro. This man's not going to be down there. Bobby was coaching well into his 70s, and he's not going to be down there doing all that stuff, and that's not a factor, bro. It's a figurehead. It's a figurehead of a program.
When you're talking about hiring
that's what you're looking at.
Yeah, you're talking about hiring a guy again. That's a guy. Like like Terrence is saying, that's a figurehead. How much coaching do you think Saban was doing at Alabama the last few years?
Not a lick.
He was hiring the right guys to do it. That's ultimately what you're trying to get put in place.
And he did it consistently. When he was recruiting, he was out there closing. I give him that.
I mean, bringing up Saban's age, it would only be relevant if this guy could barely talk, or if you could see the chinks in his armor, bro.
You don't.
At the end of the day, Saban left. He retired because I think he was just sick of the foolishness that college football has become. If I'm being quite honest with you,
NILs and the portal and all.
Through all of that, he was still winning football games and still recruiting top 3 in the country year in and year out. Like you're not asking Saban to get in there and run races like before practice, like Mike Norvell does. Like that's not what you're asking Nick Saban to do. You're asking him to sit on that damn golf cart, hire elite coaches around him, like he's been doing for the past 15 years. Anyway,
that want to be on that tree.
And learn and get that exposure. Like that's what you're asking. I don't understand how that's such a hard concept to understand.
Now Pete Carroll's showing his age a little bit.
And all Saban got to do is come into a living room and put 11 rings or 10 rings or however many rings he got on the table. That's been his recruiting pitch for the last 15 years. I don't understand.
Walkies say, hey now.
That's it. You see what works. I don't understand why all of a sudden it won't work.
It does. It was like, before I went out, I beat up on Georgia, right?
No one's asking Saban to get out here and be all of that he was.
He ain't got a ride
20 years ago. Yeah.
People.
He's Nick Saban. His presence alone speaks volumes.
What about somebody said Bobby Boucher, and it made me think about the guy who talked like Bobby Boucher. My boy from LSU.
Brian Kelly?
No. He used to be at LSU.
Oh, Ed Orgeron? Hell no. Hell no.
Why is it a hell no on him for you?
Did you see what LSU? I mean, they struck that lightning with Burrow and the boys, but
Nah. It was just a matter of the talent that was there.
Yeah, he may have hit. That was a good little hire for them because of the way he talked, the LSU, that whole Bayou thing. I get all of that, but nah.
I mean, outside of that, nobody said is Urban done?
I don't know what's going on with Urban Meyer. I don't know. Urban's never been a guy that I really looked at like a serious option.
But that's the big name type.
I actually like Matt Rule as a college coach.
Nah.
Not a fit.
No.
Not a fit. He's not a fit.
No. I'll be damned.
Well, I know you say that because you're a Panther fan, so I get that.
Put me through that shit again.
But he's not a fit in the state of Florida. Like Matt Rule in Nebraska is a good mix, and we'll see how he finishes up
his ass out there.
Matt Rule in the Midwest. I mean, you saw he at Baylor. Matt Rule state of Florida. No, I don't. It's not a fit.
He ain't recruiting like that out here.
Yeah, it's not a fit.
They gonna look at him like, dude, this guy can't be serious.
Marcus Freeman.
Nope. The fan base wouldn't allow that.
You don't think so? We just beat you 52-3.
And
I don't think Freeman's a big enough name either, honestly.
And I hear the Willie Taggart comparisons coming
Get the BYU coach. Get the hell out of here.
As soon as, and then the other part about Now, mind you, I actually don't. I wouldn't be personally. I would be opposed to Freeman. I don't think it's a good situation. And I don't see
Honest
why he would do
question.
it.
What does FSU have to honor? Any well-known coach? Money situation is what it is. Football facilities coming along, but not there yet. I mean, I'm not even sure what that question is entailing, Mr. J. Holmes. What does FSU have to offer? First of all, what does any university offer any coach that they're hiring? Ultimately, money. But let's specifically talk about FSU. Well, you're in the hottest state, probably. You're between the two hottest states recruiting-wise in Georgia
Georgia and Florida.
and Florida. So that's what they offer any coach that wants to come coach in the state of Florida, period. It's like asking, well, what does Florida offer any coach?
National recognition.
I mean, like, I think that's a silly question, Mr. J. Holmes.
You can't base it off of what we're doing this year on what we offer as a program. That it just doesn't work that way.
Recruits not coming to that's a coaching problem. That's not the university. That is
Bro,
Norvell doesn't prioritize recruiting. That's why.
when did we have issues before, like recruiting?
Never.
Hell, even when Taggart came in, he was able to go and get people like
Never. They never had problems with.
so.
But it's been pretty documented, or at least it's been talked about a lot at this point. Norvell doesn't prioritize recruiting. He thinks he can get anybody and turn them into something. Well, that might have worked at Memphis. It don't work at Florida State.
Playboy.
Not when the people that you're playing against on a routine basis are recruiting top tier. Like
4 and 5 stars.
Say what you want about Mario, but he's recruiting top tier guys. Hell, you can say what you want about Billy Napier, but he's got LJ McCray and Dan and DJ Lagway, and like he's recruiting those type of guys. Who's the best player Mike Norvell ever recruited?
That's actually performing.
You're right here.
I just want to know who's the top player Mike Norvell's recruited. Period.
I think technically, isn't it Hakeem?
It would either be Hakeem or Sam McCall. They're only 2 5-stars I can think that he's recruited.
I don't blame Hakeem for how he's turned out. So, I mean, it's yeah. I'll be there.
So
Didn't close on some really big ones. Just did not close.
think about that for a second.
We used to be a signing day threat to flip people. We used to be a significant threat to flip people on signing day.
Yeah, we've turned into the team that on signing day we know for a fact somebody's decommitting, and it's usually our top guy on the board. Keldrick Falk, KJ Bolden, Travis Hunter.
Ooh.
And this year it'll be Solomon Thomas.
Damn. Man been committed for about 3 years, ain't it?
He committed, I think last summer.
Yeah, like 2023, 20.
You know what I didn't realize about Solomon Thomas?
What?
He is the highest rated he's the highest rated offensive lineman out of the state of Florida, I think, ever out of high school. And he won't be playing here. Newsflash.
How confident are you on that flip?
I would put a heavy amount of money on it. I'm pretty confident. History says FSU will not close out on the top guy. Again, KJ Bolden, Travis Hunter, Keldrick Falk. Like history says, come signing day, the top guy will decommit.
That hurts, man. That really hurts
Then
a
you look at a
class.
Solomon Thomas, and you look at and you go, okay, why would he stay? He's watching the way that damn O line looks.
And he seen
Atkins might not even be here next year.
and he saw two other guys come in and that were supposed to.
And not only does he see how the O line looks, name me the Alex Atkins guy that he's recruited that's worth a damn. I can only think of
Armella,
one.
Early, and Simmons ain't doing a damn thing.
Early don't play bad. We just, for whatever reason, we don't play him. Again, I think Early's the highest rated. He's graded the highest, not only on the O line, I think on the entire offense. I think Early's the highest rated offensive player. I don't think he played a snap tonight.
Did you ever find out what happened to Powers?
He's still on the team.
Oh, okay.
He's just wearing a jersey. Solomon is sticking. I would love to say that. I hope he sticks.
We'll see about
but
that.
I'll ask you, 850, how much you would be willing to bet on that?
Hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck. If I had a son and he was committed to Florida State right now, and we knew for a fact Mike was coming back with his staff, he's starting to take some more visits. we going to and I love Florida State, but I gotta do what's best for my kid. And right now, what they doing and what the direction the staff's on. So am I mad at these kids that are flipping? Nah, man. This is their life.
FSU football in real trouble.
It's their life. And everybody always say, "Oh, you can be a part of the change and a part of the." But what are they doing?
Mike Norvell's problem is that message that he's saying, which I want to slap him for first of all saying it. This whole we want guys that want to be here and check. You sold that message 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That message don't hit no more, bro. It was easy to sell that message when this wasn't totally your team because you were taking over a program that had 2 coaches in 3 years. So it was easy to say that, hey, this isn't really my team. We got a mismatch of players. I want guys that want to be here for the change. Bro, you're 5 years in. This is your team. So this whole notion of I want guys that want to be here, you got guys that want to be here.
You can't do that and then go get like 10, 15 guys to start out of the portal.
That's what the O-line has been since, that's
like you're going to get your half your O-lines out of the portal. You grab your QB.
The entire O-line's out of the portal.
Your wide receiver, yeah.
And the only O-linemen that aren't out of the portal are 2 Willie Taggart guys that we should have recruited over. Maurice Smith should not still be starting. Darius Washington shouldn't be your best offensive tackle. You should have been able to recruit over these guys in 5 years.
We thought we did.
As far as FSU football being in real trouble, I think it's a rebuild whether you keep Mike or not. Because even if you keep Mike, I'm pretty sure you got a mass overhaul on the staff. That's still somewhat of a rebuild.
Oh, yeah.
If you just flat out fire him, obviously that's a rebuild. Can FSU turn it around in 1 year? No. I like our young pieces, but there's nothing that I see that indicates that they could turn it around in 1 year. It would take the greatest offseason of all time. I'm not even talking about like the portal. I'm talking about like from a development standpoint. Like,
Mama, where you get that from?
Luke Crummerhoke and Brock Glenn would have to grow up exponentially. Lucas Simmons would all of a sudden have to turn into the player that we hope he could be over this offseason. Like,
Armella need to take leaps.
There's too many variables for me to go FSU is going to turn it around in 1 year. This is more about
what you're paying in?
He's a junior, so he technically
Peyton got to come back.
Well, he has to come back. The question is he's got to come back on a massive pay cut.
Oh, yeah.
He said, I'll put my E9 check on it. Okay.
Ooh, big money.
That's an E9 in the Navy. So what is that? A Master Chief, I think. If you're in the Army, you'd be a sergeant major. So what are you, a Master Chief?
The whole
Make
check.
decent money, but
The whole check.
I mean, he's an E9. That's the highest enlisted grade you can be. Like I'm an E6, right? So
Let me hold something.
I ain't got no money for you. I ain't got nothing for you.
Mm-mm-mm. It's a doggone shame. How many flipped in the past week? 4 in the past
Well,
2 weeks?
so some of these have not actually been flips. They've been projected flips. So like Tramel Jones hasn't actually flipped from Florida State. It's just projected. The tight end out of Nebraska hasn't actually decommitted and flipped. It's just projected. So got a lot of projected flips right now.
I mean, you project everybody on a that's committed to flip. Then
Yeah. So no one's
I would project.
actually trying to think. Who's the last? Wiley is the last one to actually decommit, and he committed to Georgia. I think
Yeah,
Wiley's the only one I can think of actual flipping.
this is crazy.
What's on the Knoll page? Warrant Officer 4. That's a good money. Everybody throwing around their pay grades here. Okay.
Hey,
Y'all need to
man,
let me hold some.
hey, go donate to these recruiting numbers, man.
No, hell no. Keep y'all money in your pocket. That's the damn problem. I don't know if you saw that last week against North Carolina. I don't know if you saw that little rant I went on. FSU fans need to keep their money in their pocket. Stop going to the games. Don't donate to these Don't donate to none of this stuff. Maybe it ain't that'll force them to change something. That's how you speak with your pocket.
That's a nice shirt, man.
This shirt? Thank you.
Yeah.
You got tequila? What kind of tequila?
It's some repo.
Wiley was not really there when he committed, and we knew he was. Well, I mean, you could say that about a few guys that we knew they were gone.
Oh man, what a time to be alive.
Disgusting. It's disgusting. I never thought I'd see this day. I'm gonna be quite honest with you. Not in my lifetime as a Florida State fan has this ever even been a thought. Like 1-9 is, I got it. This has to be the alternate dimension. We have to be in the multiverse. Like this can't be real time. Holmes says this class is gone. The portal isn't going to save Mike. Other schools have caught up to the player retention. So what elite talent can he get? He can't get any elite talent. Obviously, he can't get any elite talent. We're past that point.
Was that rhetorical?
Yeah.
And you just accidentally put
it had to be a rhetorical question.
Because you answered the question. You answered the question, then asked it. Like it was Jeopardy or something.
I mean, yeah, the basketball team beat Rice. I think they were 2-0.
Let's go.
Let's hold off on basketball till they get in the ACC play. Like, let's not get. They beat Rice. Congratulations. So let's not. But congratulations, basketball team, doing their thing. Our head coach is a clown. He keeps finding new lows. Yeah, let's hope he sticks around. Why hasn't Lester played? To do what? A serious question, Dupree. Lester playing does what? You're talking about a corner. You saw Kai Blake. again, man, we want these freshmen to play. I get it. I don't know what the expectation is. Kai Bates played. He gave up that touchdown. I'm not mad at Kai Bates for it. He in the position. It is what it is. But I don't know what we asking Charles Lester to come out there and do.
Well, he locked out everybody out there.
I guess.
Score would have been 42-3 instead of 52. What was in the game?
Went 13-0 last year and got out recruited. But exactly. I mean, that tells honestly the last 2 years, not counting this year. We're strictly talking recruiting. That tells you everything you need to know. Because in the last 2 years, again, we're not counting this year. You're talking about a team that went 23-3 and couldn't crack the top 10 in recruiting.
Crazy.
That's egregious.
Crazy.
That's absolutely insane. Matter of fact, let me verify that real quick. But I'm pretty sure I'm correct when I say
that we didn't crack the top 10 in recruiting.
Yeah, overall recruiting rankings.
I'm almost positive that's.
Me too, but I'm just gonna check it real quick. So, 2024, that's a 13-0 season, number 12. I know in 23 he wasn't as high as number 12. In 23, 19.
God damn. That's what happened when you lose 3 at your top.
Think about that for a second. Think about that.
Oh.
You went 23-3 in 2 years, and you couldn't crack the top 10 at Florida State in recruiting.
What's the?
That's crazy. You should have had your pick of the litter in the state of Florida.
Hey, we out here winning.
And that same time span, Mario Cristobal. Why not? Because I just want to. We'll start with the 2023 season. I believe that's Mario's first year. Am I wrong? Miami was number 7 overall recruiting rankings. 2 5-stars. That's when they got Maui Noah. Who's been a starter for them for day one. And then last year, Miami top 5.
How can we not recruit
Mario Cristobal had a losing record his first year and went 7, only had 7. Like, think about that. Think about that, guys. Anybody who wants to continue to hype up Mike Norvell or believe Mike Norvell can turn this thing around or think that there's a glimmer of hope for Norvell, I'm sorry. Just that right there proves everything is not everything. In that same time span, best recruiting class he could do was number 12. 23-3 was the performance on the field. Mario Cristobal was 500 in that same time span. 6-7 the first year, 7-6 the second year. 1 top 5, 2 top 10 classes, 1 top 5 class. Think about that.
It's crazy. I mean,
that's all you can do, Antoine. That's literally all you can do.
That's
all you can do. That is it. That right there is FSU in a nutshell under Mike Norvell. And again, it's why you're where you're at right now. I'm not saying that you could see 1-9 coming, but you could see a drop off coming because you didn't recruit over anything. You're still banking on Shaheem Brown. You're still banking on Darius, Maurice Smith.
Kentron Portier
is wearing number 1, and he sucks. How is that even a thing?
Ah,
Your
boy,
linebackers are all gyms. Linebackers are all project
three-star
players.
university at linebacker.
Facts.
You telling me nobody else wanted number one?
Bro, come on. Like you didn't see 1 and 9 coming, but you could absolutely see that the roster was not being built properly. And thank you, Derek. It ain't anybody that wants to say it's a money thing, get the hell out of here because it's not. FSU spent a ton of money on this
Hey, the
roster.
boys at Battles Is was doing their job.
They spent a ton of money on this roster.
Hey, the boys at Battles Is was doing their job.
It used to be,
That ain't the problem.
FSU ain't got no money. They've disproven the whole money thing from the jump. There's
We ain't
money.
gonna say Toafili can't catch no more.
There's
Stop.
money in this university.
What? And they paid that man a lot of money.
And that's why ultimately, in my opinion, they're better off. Hopefully there's some truth to the war chant thing. And maybe they are having discussions about getting rid of this guy. And I think they're better off going for it. Because
it's hard not to.
There's no redeeming quality other than that 23-3 record.
That's Jordan Travis.
And he's had losing seasons outside of every other. Besides those 2 years, every other season has been a losing season, including this one.
All right. So I keep saying that it was Jordan Travis. Like it. I really feel like there were so many times that Jordan Travis saved us, bro. In games where it was bad play calling and he was scrambling, get these like it's clear.
By the way, in that same time span, Florida, that year you finished 19th, Florida finished 13th, and last year Florida only finished 1 spot behind you, and they signed their quarterback of the future. Lagway's in that class.
That boy balling. Well, he is a baller. 2022,
Yeah,
there was
no
18.
redeeming. There's nothing you can redeem on Mike Norvell. He's not bringing in the talent, and now you're 1-9 on the football field.
2023.
So where's the hope?
13. So we've been the third best recruiting team in the state of Florida consistently, except for when they finished, and that was barely. That's wild. In that class, they got Lagway, McCray, Childs. They got 2 nice ass linebackers, Childs and Graham.
Think about it, man.
I got a question. Do you think? I feel like what's missing on this team is building from the linebacker position out. Like we don't have line. Like I feel like there's talent at defensive line position, and there's talent in the defensive backfield, but that glue that holds any good team together isn't there at linebacker. And I know this isn't necessarily talking about Mike right now, but like, is that far fetched to say that?
For me, it's all about. I think you're on the right track. I just think you're at the wrong position group.
So what do you think is that?
I think it's the interior guys on the D line. I think it's the entire D line as a whole. Farmer's been a good player, but Darrell Jackson should be a rotation guy. He probably shouldn't be your starter. And once you get past those 2, what the hell do you got?
Guys who should be purely
more rotation guys. I've only been talking about the trenches for about 5 years now. That's came back and bit you in the ass finally because you finally missed out on some guys because Marvin Jones wasn't Verse or Jermaine. You got lucky with lucky might not be the right word, but it was not realistic to continue to hit like that on the transfer portal.
And they threw it out there 3 times. They threw out for 3 defensive ends, right?
They they got 3 defensive ends in the portal this last.
Jones, Loihe, and what's the other boy name?
Durajay. Who's a tweener? He's an inside guy and
Lagway is hurt.
And you got Grady Kelly. Who? I'm not even going to say he's a bad player, but he's just not an impact guy. No. FSU used to have Eddie Goldman on the bench.
Chilling. Coming in and spelling guy.
Right, wasn't even the starter. Like, that's how far we fell.
Eddie Goldman was coming in off the bench making plays.
That's how far we've fallen on the D-line. Josh Sweats, all of those guys are gone.
I just knew Patrick Payton was going to be like Josh Sweat, bro.
No, I just knew Marvin Jones Jr. was going to be the next whatever. Boy, he turned me into a liar.
What about Amari, man? He don't want to play DN?
I think at this point, if they were going to play him at DN, he should have never brought him over to tight end. If you move him back to DN now, you've just wasted a year at tight end. He can't play both.
That's the other part.
This isn't corner and receiver. This is 2 totally different things. You can't be a DN. You can't be a DN and a tight end. Like you can't.
I feel you. That would be cool though.
Yeah, Lyons is Lyons is a decent player. He's a rotation guy at this point in his career. Is my point.
Decent player is not a starter at Florida State.
My point is there is nobody on that D line that you're looking at and going, like when you had Mario Edwards and them boys and Jacoby McDaniel, you had Eddie Goldman and Timmy Jernigan. You had Eddie Goldman on the bench and you said, okay, that's the next. You had Derek Nandi on the bench and you said, that's the next guy. There's nobody on the bench right now that you go, okay, that's the next guy up. I have no idea what this D line is going to look like next year because Farmer's gone. Jackson's gone. We'll see what happens with Pat. I wouldn't be surprised if Pat hit the portal because I don't think FSU should pay him the same amount of money. There may be an SEC team that does. Hell, USC might make him come out there and play for them and pay him a bunch of money to do so because they always struggling for defense. That entire D-line is a crapshoot at this point. What are we banking on next year? D.D. Holmes? That's not a knock on D.D. Holmes. I'm just asking a question. That's only 4-star. That's only 4-star.
I'm looking at that D-line, bro, right?
It's disgusting.
Like, we had, mind you, Chris Casher was even actually playing well. Everett Dawkins, Mario Edwards, Eddie Goldman, Timmy Jernigan, Lawrence Stample, Lawrence Stample, he still played well. Mm-hmm. Jacoby McDaniel, freaking, come on, man. That's wild. That was a 2012 team.
Yep.
Where we had, and don't forget who the ends were on that team. We had
but so you didn't even name the best 2 players on that D line. And Tank Carradine and Bjorn Warner.
Not Carradine, yeah. Werner.
And in fact, 2012, Everett Dawkins he's hurt.
And Brandon Jenkins too.
No, that's the one. Brandon Jenkins was hurt, and he was coming off of like a 12-sack season.
Brandon Jenkins was supposed to be
he was supposed to be he was supposed to be the guy, and I think he like broke his foot or something. and that's when
Yeah.
Tank stepped up.
Tank stepped up.
Think
Bjorn
about
went
that.
crazy.
Think about that.
Bjorn went crazy. I think he
Think
had like
about that.
9 sacks through like 6 games, like 5,
Where's
6
our
games.
D line now? Look up our D. Since you're looking up stuff, Terrence, by all means, I want you to look up our defensive line as it completely stands right now. If you will, please, sir.
Sure, no problem. Our roster as of right now,
Just D lineman.
just D lineman. I mean, do I really want to do this? Oh no.
Yes, I'm just. The fans deserve to know what their defensive line is going to look like next year.
Next shit.
Well, let's talk about this year, and then we'll transition to next year because we're gonna. Ain't nobody in the recruiting class gonna be on that D line next year.
All right, so we looking at Dante Anderson. You remember him, right?
Walk on. Yep.
Durajai.
Okay.
Farmer's only a junior, so he comes back.
Farmer's going pro.
He's going pro?
After this year, 100%.
Okay. Grant Fielder, never heard of him.
I don't know who the
What
hell
does he
that is.
play?
Who the hell is that?
236. I think he sounds like a long snapper.
He's probably a walk on.
Jamori Flag.
Freshman.
Yep. Lamont
He's
Green.
ranked like 600 in the Lamont Green Jr. I would
Yep.
love for him to turn into something. He's probably
Please. Aaron Hester.
okay.
D.D. Holmes.
Yeah, I already named him. Yep.
Daryl Jackson.
He's
Is only
probably
a junior. Okay.
Jared Jackson gonna leave when Farmer leave. Those two have been tied at the hip.
Jaden Jones, who I feel like has been here forever.
Who the hell? Yeah, who the hell is that?
You remember Jaden?
I know who he is, but he ain't had a snap. So like, there's I have zero expectation of Jaden Jones. Yep.
Grady Kelly.
Uh-huh.
Basically, Grady just saw an opportunity to go home, bro.
Yep.
He from Navarre, Florida, so. And then Sione, he gone.
He's gone. Yep.
Daniel Lyons.
Mm-hmm.
This is another walk on. I don't know who this guy is. Pat.
Mm-hmm.
Xavier Perkins, another walk on. William Ross for Parkman. Oh goddamn, that's loud as hell. Honestly, that's Denaz White. You remember him?
Yeah, another freshman.
Yeah, and Byron Turner Jr. and KJ Sampson too.
So again, what are we looking at?
I heard it was this guy in the portal that's supposed to be scheduling a visit.
What's his name?
A JUCO guy. What his name is? Tylen Coleman. Tylen Coleman.
What's he play?
I don't know.
What's he play?
I think is he a DN? What is he? He out there. No, yeah, he's everything says. Yeah, he's 6'4", 285. And so, out there in Northwest Mississippi, where you originally from?
The D line. The whole point of that was the D line is going to be nasty, not in a good way.
Disgusting.
Like KJ Sampson, I think could be a good player. I think Daniel Lyons could be a good player, but
Boots.
That's two guys. Boots. What do they got Boots listed at as far as weight at this point?
I think it was like 245. Let me check.
245, and if he's legitimately 245 and can't see the field, then that's a problem.
No, 229. My bad.
Okay, yeah, that sounds more accurate.
Yeah, they got him listed at 229. That's crazy. We got a lot of guys from Miami.
Yeah. The second tier guys.
Man.
Like
Hey,
Jamori
but
Flash from Miami.
a lot of. If I went just from the D line alone,
Dante Anderson
Dante
from
Anderson, Jamori Flag, Boots,
Yep.
Havana, Florida. That's Daryl Jackson. Coral Gables, Marvin Jones, Daniel Lyons, Patrick
Yep.
Payton.
Yep.
I mean, and then you get into Broward County with William Ross and whoever these other random
Who
people
the
are.
hell is William Ross?
I don't know. He from Parkland. Apparently, he on the roster. He'll walk on somehow. Maybe
You
I
said
can walk on.
Barker is our best player on defense next year? Wait, what?
What? That's Blake Nicholson. Blake Nicholson's our best player.
Next year, this is assuming that guys like AZ leave.
Maybe you can say Shaheem ends up being the best player.
Shaheem's gone.
You know, Peter Ward Jr. is still on the roster, bro. Chilling.
I don't be surprised. You want to since you bring up Barker and that's a safety. Like Earl Little, I think has a bright future. I think since he's made that transition to safety, it's just more natural fit for him.
That was a good move.
Yeah. Edwin Joseph is another guy who I think has a bright future. Like, if there's one thing you want to take away, like I do think FSU has some good young talent. Let me be very clear. I don't think this is a bad roster in terms of talent. I think this roster has talented players on it. The problem with this roster is it hasn't been put together complementary. And they do a terrible job of putting who should be on the field and when they should be on the field. Shaheem Brown is in his last year of eligibility, guys. He's not hitting the portal, and Shaheem Brown's going to go sell real estate.
Who would have ever thought Fitzgerald would be our best player?
Bro. Kirkland is another young player that I think does have a bright future. I think FSU has some guys on the roster that has a bright future. I think the problem that's going to arise in the offseason, which I think is going to be a fun offseason to cover and might not be a happy one to cover, is keeping guys like Kirkland and Earl Little. These younger guys, keeping them on the roster is going to be –
especially if
that's going to be Charles Lester, Kai Bates. Like these are – keeping those guys, Elijah Moore, LaWay McCoy, that's going to be the problem. AZ going to the NFL. If I was AZ, I would take a shot at it. AZ's a good cover guy. He's terrible in run support.
Why?
There might not, and the NFL team might not ask that of him. So if I'm AZ, I'm definitely seeing what my grade is because I think as a coverage guy, he'll have some decent grades.
Oh boy!
Sorry, boy, say Shaheem about to go get his CDLs.
That's funny. That's funny. I can't lie. That's kind of funny. Oh man, you better take whatever little money he got from the NIL deals. Go buy a couple trucks. I know DJU, he definitely done went out there and got him a couple Chick-fil-A franchises. AZ gonna get drafted off his physical attributes.
Man. Yeah, he'll get drafted for sure.
By day two.
Worst
I think
coaches.
he goes day two just off of that.
It's hard to argue that, my man. I don't argue it.
Wait. Worse? All of them?
I mean, what position this year has played well?
Well, so Norvell's our worst head coach?
Does he have the worst record since 1970?
Hey, there we go. Okay.
I mean, I can't. I'm not here to defend any of it. You don't get to go 1-9,
bro. That's insane.
and me defend any of it. You don't get to do that. Anybody
That's
that wants to come in, I've let people say
insane.
this for the last few weeks. Anybody that wants to tell me that Willie Tagger is better than Mike Norvell, I don't have an argument for you. You're allowed to say it because you don't get to go 1-9, bro.
Ain't no way Willie would have went 1-9, bro. Swag
Didn't.
surfing and all.
Even when they fired him, he was when
We won
Willie
a couple games, you know.
when Willie lost to Miami and got fired. I believe FSU was still a 500. I think they were 4-4.
Hey, when we take James Blackman right now at quarterback,
it's not a quarterback problem.
it's a play call problem.
It's a whole offensive scheme problem, and it's an offensive line problem more than anything.
I don't even think our defense is bad.
Our defense, if we had an offense that could score more than 13 points a game, we have a defense that is definitely.
I think they would play better. We're not giving up 52 points if we score 25, 30.
And that's another great point. If the defense through the offense could give them a break, yeah, I think the defense would play better as a whole.
And they out there and they got to hold up for at least 40 minutes.
And that's why I said, like, I'm not here to tell you that Adam Fuller is whatever. But there's no way if I'm Adam Fuller, Mike Norvell blaming any of this on me.
If you're not a solution, you're part of the problem.
Okay. They're all parts of the problem then.
Exactly. Kick rocks.
I'm not saying Adam Fuller deserves to stay. I'm just saying. There ain't no way you
because whatever he calling on fucking third down, that ain't it.
True.
That ain't it. It's a difference between these guys are making mistakes and just mental errors and but these guys not in the right position. 3rd and 2, and you got them playing off 10 yards. I know you ain't giving these guys that kind of freedom. Not losing like this. Freedom get taken away when you playing like that. Hey, this is why I need you to line up at. This is where you need to be. Not well, coach. I saw that. You don't need to see a goddamn thing. Don't. That's why somebody earlier said something about option routes on the offense, and that's why they all of them ran those outs. Nah, bro, ain't no options. Ain't nothing you've shown me at any point shows that you deserve to run an option route. Run what I told you and run it like I told you. This is why I don't coach football. That's why I ain't never wanted to coach. I like kids, high school. I ain't never want to do. I couldn't do it. I'm not that guy. It ain't going zombie mode. It's the play calling is ridiculous. Even if my thing is this: there's enough talent at the corner position that if you blitz it, you need to, like with the guys that we have, press, get up. It's 3rd and whatever. Make them get the ball out quick. If you get beat like that, fine. But we running a blitz and got guys 10 yards off in coverage, 7 yards off in coverage.
Well, Fuller also brings his blitzes from too far.
Way too far, bro. You ain't got that kind of speed. Jalen Ramsey ain't out there. LaMarcus Joyner ain't out there. Who do you think these boys are? Hey, is Mickey still alive?
Yeah, Mickey Andrews is still alive. Yeah.
Mickey need to come talk to somebody, man. Like, can Mickey come talk to somebody? I don't get it. Bro, safeties be blitzing from the wide side of the field. Corner blitz from the wide side of the field.
The man said we might end up 2-10. 2-10 is a
hope.
I'm about to say that's a hope.
You better hope we get our shit together for Charleston Southern. Is that what it is, Charleston Southern, or somebody else?
Charleston Southern, and then Florida.
They starting that boy from the Mormon guy at quarterback Florida. As they start
The guy from Yale.
Yale. Oh my
Well,
bad.
Lagway might be, Lagway might be
Glad we gonna
healthy.
eat us up, bro.
Yeah, Lagway might be healthy by that game. I don't know. I don't know.
Delayed. Hey, if your blitz don't cross the line of scrimmage, is it actually a blitz or is it a spot, bro?
2013 offense
The
was just
2013 offense was record setting, so I
I'm
don't
about to
know
say
where
it
you're
was
going with
solid. It was
that. I get
literally
what you're trying to say.
until LSU came along was the greatest offense of all time.
A record setting, sir. We ain't gonna take away from what James
And
did.
LSU only reason they beat the record book, they did it in more games. And FSU didn't run no high tempo offense either. Like 2013 offense is arguably the greatest offense ever.
Hey, what is the spread on that Charleston Southern game?
No clue. I don't even care.
I might have to bet on that. Let me see what Charleston Southern looking like. That might be some might be worth a little put on a ticket somewhere. That's insane. That it's just I don't. Oh man, my head hurt. Somebody, well, I don't know who just said it, but how did we get here, bro? Like how? I think we know, but it's still just to be where
No,
we're
I
at.
don't think we know how we got here. Again, I think you could look at certain things and say to yourself,
Maybe those were signs that we
um,
missed.
a down year was definitely coming, but not 1-9.
We off next week?
Yeah, next week's a bye.
Ooh,
1-9 just doesn't
boy, and
happen
you
like
can get
by
a ticket for
mistake.
$9 to that game.
That's my biggest issue. Is 1-9 just doesn't magically happen. Like something, there's more to it. A lot more to it.
Let's go get. That'd be nice. Go sit by the marching chiefs. How am I supposed to tell my daughter to do the tomahawk chop with us playing like this, man? I can't even play that music no more. I played it all last year. She was tomahawk chopping all around the house. She won't do it no more. Two of the worst records ever. The worst record since the 70s.
Hmm. Since the year before they hired Bobby Bowden, if I'm not mistaken.
Most of us wasn't alive, my man.
I wasn't.
Was my dad? My dad was like 8, 7. I probably wasn't even in there yet. I wasn't even in this. I wasn't even in this ball sack yet. Like, what? No inkling of me. And we this damn bad. Ronald, I can't bring myself to bet against Florida State, bro. It's just it ain't in my heart, bro. They won it 9-2. Oh, that's gonna be a good game. Who did they beat? Oh, they beat Furman. Oh, they ain't played nobody either. We are the only team that they gonna play. I got us covering that spread against them.
That game is gonna look like the Cal game.
I got us putting up. Have we put up over? What game did we put up over 21 in?
What are you talking about?
Did we?
Over 21. Are you drunk?
Maybe I am. We ain't put up
Georgia
over
Tech.
21 in?
Georgia Tech is the highest scoring game I think we've had, and I think that was 21 on the dot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
We ain't cracked no 20.
Wow.
We ain't cracked nothing since.
Bro, imagine that, bro.
Again, it's historically bad.
Like we've never had an offense this bad, bro. Hey, how did we win them last two games?
Last year?
Yeah, how?
Last year isn't indicative of this year. Last year had championship level defense, point blank period. I don't know. You see what Verse and Fisk are doing in the league. Like, them boys are football players.
Nasty.
Them boys are football.
Nasty.
Last year's
Shout out
defense,
to that class. That
even
class,
Jerry and
everybody.
Jones. Yeah, even Jerry and Jones in the NFL.
Jerry
Like,
Jones,
Ronaldo
balling.
Green.
Ronaldo Green got a
Bro,
couple INTs.
legit. Like, you had legit NFL
Freaking
players.
Keon out there bro. Do you see how many times Keon Coleman got pass interference calls?
Yeah.
It's like 2 a game.
You had
They
legit
can't do nothing but
NFL players last year's
bro.
team. So it's specifically talking defense. Like,
Jordan
again,
Travis gonna be the future for the New York Jets.
I don't know about that, but again, championship level defense last year.
Watch it happen. I'm calling it. Benson is the only. I think Benson the only guy who hasn't like showed out. Benson hasn't had the year that I thought he would.
Is he a starter?
No, and that's part of why like he hasn't done it. I thought he would. I thought he could win that starting job, and he didn't. And even when he gets in, it's meh. The results are lackluster. But then again, with the way that team is run, like you don't necessarily expect him to get a lot. But yeah, he has 39 carries for 154 yards. That ain't gonna cut it. He was supposed to be the second back. Well, he is technically, I guess. I guess so. When I'm looking at this, I thought he would basically end up still in the third down back stuff, but he hasn't done it. You, I ain't gonna, Ronald. Hey, if you feel like I'm just talking, that's cool. You get on here and just talk then. I mean, but no, Benson hasn't done well when he's got out there. At the end of the day, he's only averaging 3.9 yards a carry. He is not doing well. He's not the starter either way, but I thought he could at least press for some time there.
Hit the like button, guys. But I'm done. I'm not talking about this team no more. I did 2 hours. If it wasn't for you coming on here, I wouldn't have did these 2 hours. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I would have been off of here probably 30 minutes ago. So,
anything about any of the other games that you thought stood out?
Ole Miss beating Georgia's big time.
Big time.
This BYU Utah game is going down to the wire.
Yeah, 19. Utah about to score.
Colorado might mess around.
BYU about to score, right?
Right now, BYU is driving.
Colorado flipped that game around real quick too.
Mm-hmm. And Colorado might. I mean, Colorado is a legit.
Might win the Big 12, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Legit playoff contender right now. Oh, he just threw a pick in the end zone.
No.
Yeah, BYU just threw a pick in the end zone.
No, that's why.
I didn't expect Bama to blow LSU out of the water.
That's why.
I'll say that. I did not expect Bama to blow out LSU like that. Other than that, I don't think there was any like Ohio State. I mean, we could, Georgia Tech beat Miami. Indiana continues to go undefeated.
Boise State had a real close game. That boy Ashton, another 200 yards.
That's another guy that's another team that might be a legit playoff level team.
Boise?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna get that group of five.
Yep.
It's crazy that they stay in group of five. They're clearly good enough to compete.
I don't know why Boise hasn't tried to get a Big 12
Big 12 or Big 10.
or something.
I think they could easily go in there and still compete and win. But I mean, I think it's almost like that's a part of their identity. Uh, shoot. I thought Army would do a lot better against North Texas. 14-3 shows that Notre Dame gonna whoop their ass. Tennessee won. Everybody pretty much handled business. That Georgia Tech over Miami game. I don't know if you spoke on that.
It ain't really much to speak on. Like,
I'm interested to see how they bounce back from it, man. They not out of the playoff race, obviously.
well, no, all I gotta do is win the ACC.
Yeah, so I'm interested to
As
see
far
how
as
they bounce
Miami goes, I mean, it's not hard to bounce back. Your next game is Wake Forest.
back.
Like that, seriously, you lost to Georgia Tech, got it. You have Wake Forest and Syracuse to close the season. Like,
You still gotta do it though, man.
yeah, I get it, but neither one of those teams. I
Like Virginia Tech and Cal wasn't scaring nobody, but they put the fear of God in both
maybe
in them.
maybe it's Syracuse, but I don't. Neither one of those teams. Georgia Tech kind of just had the. They were able to get to Cam Ward and but Miami has a legit offense. Out
And
of
I
those
think
teams, maybe Syracuse because Miami's defense is. I've been saying Miami defense sucks for the last 6 weeks. Like their defense is bad. Miami has a
well,
bad defense.
see, somebody mentioned this earlier, and it was like, this is the point in time where Miami like folds. I think, as a matter of fact, it was in our chat. Somebody was like, "Oh yeah, this is where Miami usually folds in the season,"
Yeah, but they
and I
don't
was
have the
like,
schedule to fold.
I agree with that, but it's also on Cam Ward because he's supposed to be that leader guy that everybody claimed he was. Like, and how he's presenting himself. I don't have any doubts about it. This is where Cam Ward needs to step up and pull his team together and get it done. Because it's not just about these next two games; it's about winning that ACC championship game. Because, in all honesty, that second loss in the ACC championship game might drop him out of the top 12.
Well, it'll definitely drop them out of it. And
Definitely.
a second loss in the ACC. SMU is undefeated right now in the ACC, and Clemson has only one loss.
What is their schedule? What was their?
So
Oh, they
right
ain't beat
now,
nobody.
right now, Miami's might be looking like the odd man out,
If they lost the second game,
even if they don't lose the second game.
what do you mean? Like they don't get the 4 seed, they end up with the.
Right now, even if Miami won out, if Miami went out, Clemson went out, and SMU went out, Miami still might be the odd man out of the ACC title game.
I thought Clemson just lost the second game or something.
Clemson has one conference loss, just like Miami.
Oh, well, I thought it came down to rankings though.
And they just lost to unranked Georgia Tech. So we'll see. I mean,
They're not
theoretically,
dropping behind Clemson though.
maybe not, but
They
we'll see.
dropped to what, like 13? Because they're number 4. They're not dropping behind Clemson. They're not going to drop behind a 2-loss Clemson right now.
The only I will say that Clemson definitely has the harder schedule down the stretch because Clemson
Yeah,
has Pitt and South Carolina. So
and they're 7-2. I mean, nah, bro. They don't drop behind Clemson in overall ranking to end up in the ACC championship game. I don't see SMU losing either to anybody because they got Boston College, Virginia, and Cal. That's a walkthrough. Like them last 3 games, SMU pretty much got that locked in. Surprised they even lost to BYU at this point.
yeah, facts.
I'm very surprised. But then you look at how they played to start the season. That game against Nevada, They barely beat Nevada 29-24.
And I'll be honest with you, like I think SMU could beat. I mean, I think Miami could beat SMU.
Yeah, yeah, they have the talent to easily beat SMU, but they gotta. You can't get into a shootout with them.
You can't get in the shootout with Miami. SMU's going to have to play defense. I have a lot more
All right,
faith
Jay,
in
Jay,
Miami.
wait. Jay, you're talking about conference losses only. When everybody has equally tied conference losses, they go to rankings to decide who gets to play in it. That's why I'm talking about. Okay, if Clemson and Miami have only one conference loss, but Clemson has 2 losses total, Miami will be ranked higher
Well,
than Clemson,
I don't
and
think
they will get
this is
and they
true.
will get into the game.
Antoine, I don't think that's true because Pitt has already 2 conference losses. And Pitt doesn't play Miami. So
But
if Miami wins
yeah,
out, they're automatically above Pitt because Pitt has 2 conference losses already.
and so Jay, do you understand what I'm saying? Like if the reason why I was talking about Miami and Clemson, unless you're saying that's not what we was talking about at the time, but they would be ranked higher. It's whoever's ranked highest. Matter of fact, if it's one loss and Clemson is still somehow ranked higher than SMU with 2 losses and SMU got 1 loss,
The thing is,
which
I
couldn't
think
happen.
I think Clemson can make up the rankings because they have a hard schedule down the stretch is the point. Because, again, Clemson plays a ranked Pitt. So if you beat Pitt and they play South Carolina.
Pitt
So
has 2 conference losses. They're 3-2 in conference.
Pitt has
The
2.
only teams with
Pitt has 2 conference losses, not 1.
SMU has no conference losses. Clemson has 1. Miami has 1.
Pitt has lost to SMU and Virginia. So I don't know where everybody's getting the Pitt only has 1 conference loss. Pitt has 2.
I think they just want to say somebody wrong about
SMU is undefeated. Clemson has 1 conference loss. Miami has 1 conference loss.
Jay, I appreciate you.
Clemson and Pitt is going to be a key battle.
Yeah.
Because if Clemson beats Pitt, who is ranked, I don't know how far Miami drops. There is a chance, though, Clemson could finish ranked higher than Miami. I don't know how that will work out.
It'd be tough.
It will be tough because Clemson
they're already in the top. They're falling from the top 5 right now, bro. You're not falling past like 12.
Again, I don't.
A 1-loss
They,
team.
they just lost to a 6. What is currently 6-4. They were 5-4 at the time. Georgia Tech team. So it all depends on how they look at that loss.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a loss is a loss. People lose. I mean, well, how do you look at? At this point, with how Vandy has been playing, how do you look at Alabama's loss to Vandy? Like, I mean, I get how you look at it. Like the SEC is crazy right now.
Clemson definitely has to win out.
The SEC is crazy to me.
SEC is crazy. It's wide open.
Like I don't know who.
I think Texas is the favorite. I think
Texas A&M, Tennessee.
But I'm about to say A&M's right there.
A&M, Texas, and Tennessee are the 1-loss teams. They're the teams that we're looking at as being in.
And when you look at Tennessee, I mean, they got Georgia's going to beat Tennessee. So I'm gonna drop Tennessee down because I think Georgia's going to beat Tennessee.
So now we talking about 2 Big 12 teams playing for the SEC championship game.
I think you're going to end up. Well, no, because Texas and Texas A&M played last game of the year, so they'll cancel each other out. I think Georgia beats Tennessee, so you're probably going to get Georgia, but Bama beat Georgia, so but Ole Miss isn't out of it because Ole Miss beat Georgia. That shit's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy, bro.
Like Alabama Ole Miss and Georgia, I don't know who gets in because
But for me, Bama lost to Vanderbilt, right? No, who
yes,
lost to Bama? Lost to Vandy.
yes, Bama lost to Vandy. I think
So that loss, like I feel like they should have dropped more for that loss,
I
bro.
think Ole Miss. See, Ole Miss doesn't play Bama this year, so I think it really comes down to if Ole Miss wins out and they have Georgia and Florida to close the season. Bama's got Mercer, Oklahoma, and Auburn, so Bama's got an easy road to close the season. Georgia's
LSU
got
is out of it.
Georgia's got this Tennessee game. If Georgia beats Tennessee,
A&M,
no, damn, I don't know. I don't know.
bro, you can't.
I think
It's
Georgia's.
impossible.
I think Georgia's out of it. I think Georgia's out of it, even if they beat Tennessee because they have losses to Bama and Ole Miss, and both Bama and Ole Miss I think went out. Georgia's going to be out of it. There's no way Georgia's in it.
But does that mean they're not in the? Does that mean they're not in the whatchamacallit?
They can't. I don't think they should be in the playoff either. Now that's going to be a whole nother argument, but Georgia's definitely out of the SEC title game. The question's going to be Ole Miss or Alabama. I mean, Missouri even has a claim, but I'm looking at Missouri right now.
Are you sure they beat Tennessee though, bro?
I think Georgia beats Tennessee. But
For me,
it doesn't matter.
About what Georgia's been doing
It doesn't matter. If Georgia doesn't beat Tennessee, they're definitely out of it. I think even if Georgia beats Tennessee, they're out of it because they have losses to Bama and Ole Miss.
But if that happens, then Tennessee is a big dog. If Tennessee beats Georgia,
if Tennessee beats Georgia, they're in.
They're in. So they're in a winning.
And that means Tennessee's going to play whoever is the winner of A&M and Texas, is my guess. Unless one of those two teams fumble, and I don't see either one of those teams.
I can't lie, bro. You know, I was never a big fan of like all the SEC hype, but like it's cool to see this happening this way. Because they used to always talk about, the SEC always beating up on each other, and it was just either Bama or LSU coming out or UF. And then Georgia came on in the past couple of years.
Yeah, Georgia can't make it to Atlanta at this point.
But now all of a sudden,
Georgia's definitely out of it, just because
all of a sudden now
the two losses. Georgia's out of it.
Vandy's beating teams. You know, South Carolina got a win, I think, against Tennessee, ain't it?
No, Tennessee's only losses to Arkansas, if I'm not mistaken.
It's the same thing to me. Like Arkansas beating Tennessee is wild to me.
Which is crazy because if Tennessee doesn't lose to Arkansas, like they're
the it team.
Right, they're a top 3 level.
They're
team.
looking at they're probably ranked number 1 over Oregon.
Probably,
they're ranked number 1 over Oregon. If they're the best team they would literally be the best team in the SEC.
Yeah,
at that point. And then mind you, I just want to be clear. Tennessee has all that going on. They got the Georgia game. You can't at this point in life. You can't overlook Vanderbilt.
Yeah, you're right.
Like Vanderbilt has beaten some teams.
No, absolutely.
Wait a minute.
Vanderbilt is 6-4.
They gave Texas a heart attack.
They did. They played Texas.
They gave Missouri a heart attack.
Played Missouri tough.
And then even they somehow, but at the same time, somehow they lost to Georgia State.
Yeah, I think from everything I'm looking at, Georgia is pretty much eliminated.
It's probably it's yeah.
And I think Georgia will eliminate Tennessee. And again, so I think it's going to be.
But that does also mean that Georgia probably, if Georgia eliminates Tennessee, then they still make the playoff. Now, do they do anything in the playoff? No. I think Beck has proven he's not that guy.
I agree. Carson Beck has proven their offense will hinder them, but they probably can make the playoff as an at-large. I'm looking at it. I don't know if they would deserve it, but I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure, though.
So I know you were about to call everything, and and we was about to head out. But
Yeah.
before we do, I think this is worth saying. Like, let's call out the conference champions. Who are your conference champions at this point?
At this point, let's look
Let's
at
start with the ACC.
in the ACC. Hold on, give me a second.
Who's playing in the game and who wins?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. So it's looking like SMU versus Miami is probably going to be the ACC championship unless Miami has another stumble, which then would be Clemson and SMU. I hate to say this, I think Miami would beat SMU. If it's Miami and SMU, I'd say Miami wins.
Now, I want to say this. You realize SMU has by on a points is the number one points scoring defense in the ACC.
Scoring defense,
like as in they've given up the least amount of points in the ACC.
Yeah, but they're not going to hold. I mean, I get it. I get what Georgia Tech did to them. Speaking about Miami, I don't know. I don't know if I'm looking at SMU's schedule. And I'm looking and saying, what good offense did they play? Louisville might be the best offense they've played. They still gave up 27. Like I just think Miami and SMU.
They gave up 42 to TCU, but that's a whole different dynamic.
Where's that at? They gave
up 42.
Oh, they did. Yeah, they did. They gave up 40.
But
yeah.
I don't count that because it's for me. Stats go out the window when it's like a rivalry game, and TCU is. These dudes go to the same.
I think Miami and SMU would be a shootout.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for me to bet against Cam Ward in that game.
Okay, so we got Miami out the ACC.
Cool. As it stands now, yeah, I know okay. Y'all ain't gonna like that, but I'm just talking football. I'm putting emotions to the side. I think Miami still can win the SEC, and if they play SMU, I think they would beat SMU.
I agree with you on that, so there's no argument there. Big 12.
Big 12. Let's look.
So we got BYU, Colorado, Iowa State was in it. Right now, it's looking like BYU and Colorado are probably going to play.
Hold on.
Unless something happens over the next couple of weeks. BYU is undefeated in
Colorado has one loss.
Colorado has that one loss in conference. Iowa State has 2 losses, and Kansas State has 2 losses. Arizona State has 2 losses. West Virginia has 2 losses in conference.
So this is a little tough for me. BYU might mess around and lose tonight.
Well, oh shit! Yeah, I ain't even.
And then Colorado plays this same Utah team next week. So Colorado's an interesting team to me because their games are like the Baylor. Like I'm thinking about the Baylor game. Hell, I'm thinking about this game, the Cincinnati game. I got to give them credit because they're winning. But if you told me Colorado slipped up against Kansas or Utah, I wouldn't be shocked.
Okay.
Kansas isn't a good team. So Colorado finishes with Utah, Kansas, and Ohio State. Oklahoma State. Sorry.
Oh.
None of those teams. None of them
walk through. None of them walk over.
Well, Oklahoma State is 3-7. Kansas is 3-6. So like the only good team they play is Utah theoretically.
To me, they're still talented teams, though.
They are. It's the Big 12, so anybody can score. So that's the thing about those games that if you told me they slipped up, I wouldn't be shocked. But I'm gonna go on a limb and say you get Colorado and BYU in that championship game.
Okay. And what's your result there?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to see Prime in the playoff. I want to see Colorado in the playoff. I want to see Shadur in the playoff, Travis Hunter in the playoff. And then they get eliminated from the playoff.
It's good TV.
And then Deion comes home. That's my scenario that's playing out in my head. So I'm going to say Colorado wins the Big 12.
Colorado as Big 12 champions.
When I look at when I look at that remaining schedule, I think Colorado wins the Big 12.
Okay, all right. So Colorado beating BYU in the Big 12, the big motherfucking 10, and that is gonna be right now. Um, surprisingly or not surprisingly, a
No, it's surprising.
high scoring, high flying, putting buckets in the goddamn
So
basket.
so next,
Indiana
so
Hoosiers,
Indiana plays Ohio State next on the 23rd. That's the
bro,
game. That's the game.
bro.
That's the
These
game.
boys have put
Indiana,
up 439 points this year.
bro. Indiana versus Ohio State's the game.
That decides
That's
what's going to happen.
that decides who plays Oregon in that championship game. And I think that decides who wins the Big Ten. I think the winner of Indiana Ohio State beats Oregon. I think Ohio State will beat Oregon in a rematch. I think if Ohio State Ohio State played that game on the road,
I got a question though.
and they
When did
They only lost
Indiana-
that game by 1.
When did Indiana get this good?
Bro, I don't know what happened. Indiana.
What?
Not
Who we need to hire?
Bro, listen. Not only is Indiana good, bro, they are blowing team. UCLA 42-13, Maryland
Belt
42-28,
ass, bro.
Nebraska 56-7, Washington 31-17, Michigan. They are blowing teams out.
They putting belt to ass, bro. Like straight up, just.
I think the winner of Ohio State and Indiana plays Oregon in that game. I think I have a hard.
So my thing is this:
I have a hard
If
time
Indiana
seeing
beats
it.
Ohio State. Do they jump to number 2 overall? Like
They would have
mind
to.
you realize Penn State is a one-loss team right ahead of Indiana, right?
That's not going to stand. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
Um,
I don't think Indiana. I got Ohio State and Oregon in the rematch.
wait. Does Big Ten's conference are they split by?
No,
are they split?
Everybody's pretty much gone away from the whole split thing.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Best two records are going to play. I got Oregon and Ohio State in a rematch. I would love to pick Indiana, but I want to see it. I just don't think Indiana's going to go into the horseshoe and win.
So you realize that they have the 4 teams in the top 10. Big 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a possibility because at this point, where's Penn State at? Can Penn State win out? Penn State can win out, and
even if they win out, it won't matter because
Penn
State's
State's
got
Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland. They went out, they're in. With
into
that
the
one
playoffs?
loss to Ohio State. Yeah. They're number 6 right now.
So the loser of the championship game, that's going to depend. So if it's Oregon and Ohio State in the championship game, right? If Oregon loses, they're still going to be in the playoff. If Ohio State loses, they're probably out. But then when Indiana get the nod over Penn State,
bro, I think all 4 teams.
Nah, I think only 2. Because you still got the at large with a team like Boise State. The SEC's probably gonna have another 2.
Hear me out, bro. Hear me out. Ohio State is number 2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
If Ohio State loses, they drop what? 10,
If they lose
11,
to who? Indiana? If they lose to Indiana, they're done.
They're done?
Yeah, they're done.
They lost to a top 10 team. They're done?
They're done.
I don't know, man. I don't know, because then they go and beat Michigan afterwards.
Yeah, but Michigan sucks this year.
But they beat Michigan.
Yeah, but they suck. Michigan's
is it at
500 football team.
I got that mosquito, boy. I'm glad I did. That motherfucker would have tore my ass up.
Michigan's not
I don't
a good
know,
team.
bro. All right, so how is Penn State not making it? They're the number 6 team right now.
They're not gonna. They'll make it if
all they have to do is win.
The only way Penn State will make it, if they win out, you're talking about just the playoff. They probably will make
playoff.
it. Yeah, they probably make it. They just went out.
Tell me or not, they're not gonna make it. How?
If they win out, they probably make the playoff. But that's going to be interesting because you got the Notre Dames. You're going to have a BYU, not a BYU, a Boise
So
State.
you put a two Penn State schedule, right? I mean, you're talking about just dropping them because you want to put other teams ahead of them.
No, it's not that I want to put other teams ahead of them.
No, I'm not saying you in particular,
I'm just
but I'm
looking
saying
at.
like that they're like, hey, well, we already got two teams from the Big 12, 10. Penn State's up here, but these two, I know they got two losses, but let's move them ahead of them. That's what you're going to get into, which is what, as Florida State fans, for us to be sitting here and saying that that's reasonable is asinine. But like I don't want to hear shit else if we're gonna agree with that being a good reasoning. Like, oh, well, they didn't have to play anybody to close the season out. Nah, man, kiss my ass on that. They still have their record. They will be a one loss team in a group in a I'm sorry in the top four conferences. Like let's not just dismiss them because of that.
Yeah.
For SEC, for Big
I just
Ten.
think with the numbers. So it's a power four. So that automatically takes away from the 12. Penn State's not winning a conference. So we already know who the power four are. And then the Big 12 gets that fifth spot. And then we know Group of Five is going to get that one guaranteed spot. So now there's six other spots.
How are you keeping? Like for me, I get
I gotta
I
just
get
see.
it.
I gotta see who. I gotta see who's in that other six spots. Like who are
My thing
we?
is this: two ACC teams not making it,
No.
so it's one ACC team. Bet.
Yes.
Uh, Big 12. If
Co-
Colorado beats
The
BYU,
only way
BYU's not in.
I see that I just if BRU ends up winning against Utah and wins out, if the undefeated BYU loses to Colorado, Colorado BYU will be in that same conversation with Penn State as a one-loss team.
And how do you put BYU over Penn State for me? Like
I,
I don't do that. Like
what? Okay, so what is? I guess what's the difference between BYU and Penn State?
what's BYU's wins? Let's
What's
start
Penn
there.
State's wins? Like if we want to play that game, Penn State doesn't have any great wins.
Well,
Penn
Illinois,
State's
that's it.
best
Really.
Penn State's best win is against Illinois.
Illinois, they beat Illinois, USC, and Wisconsin, and a 7-point loss to Ohio State.
Okay, BYU's best one would be at number 13 ranked Kansas State. So
I don't see Kansas State on the level of those teams.
based,
There's
I
a
mean,
difference between those conferences. We can't lie. The top two conferences
no,
right now
so I'm not
are
gonna disagree
SEC
with
and
you.
Big Ten.
I'm not
So
disagreeing with that there's a difference between the conferences. I'm just saying, and BYU would have that win over to the potential ACC champion. My bad, and the SMU. So BYU would have two wins over two ranked teams. Penn State don't have that.
okay. Well, I think Penn State does because
No,
we're talking. Well,
they have Illinois.
I
That's
hear you.
it. That's Penn
I hear
State's
you.
best win. BYU would have SMU and Kansas State.
I hear you.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
don't know.
I don't think Penn State's a shoe in. I think you would have literally have to go team by team.
I
And
wouldn't put them out, and
and then
I know we were, and
okay, you might not.
I apologize because we kind of digressed from what the original thing was, and we talking about teams who would make it, but who would make the playoffs.
And
But
then if you go to let's go
all
to the
four of those
SEC,
teams have a shot at making the playoffs. To me, is what I'm saying.
and then you're going to be putting Penn State against an SEC team at that.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there.
Exactly, and even got to the SEC yet. And I guarantee you, the SEC get at least two in. Even if they don't deserve to, SEC going to at least get two.
Yeah, they're going to at least get two.
At least get two.
So who's our Big Ten winner?
I got Oregon and Ohio State in a rematch. I think Ohio State gets them in the rematch.
So Indiana's out. They lose to Ohio State, in your opinion. Penn
Yes.
State wins out, and they still on the outside looking in.
that's another thing. Like
Possibly.
you would only pick one out of Indiana and Penn State. Like who would you take? I would take Indiana over Penn State.
Why?
Because they've, unlike Penn State, Indiana, while they might not have
Well,
the
Penn
mark,
State lost by a touchdown to Ohio State.
I don't care. Indiana has
You don't care
blown
what?
every. I mean, we have to wait and see what that Indiana Ohio State game looks like. But as of right now, again, Indiana's been blowing teams out of the water.
Penn State was in that game the whole time against Ohio State.
Okay,
That's why for me
we have to wait and see how Indiana versus Penn State plays out. But again, Indiana has been blowing teams out. Depending on how Indiana Ohio State looks, you could have a deeper conversation on Indiana versus Penn State, but it's a conversation.
Mind you, Penn State lost to Ohio State
And again,
Ohio State.
Ohio
State. So
Big Ten's definitely going to have. I think Ohio State and Oregon. Well, Ohio State has to win. Obviously, if they win, they're in, and I think Oregon's going to be in. So the Big Ten's going to at least have two. Probably get three. Big Ten will probably definitely get three. The question,
and that's what I'm saying. I think they do get three in.
Yeah, it'd be between Indiana and Penn State.
But
and I'm not sure what you value more.
But if Indiana finds a way to make it in, now 4 doesn't make it. If Indiana is the team that makes it in, and
Penn State's not getting it, I don't see how you can justify with 6 remaining spots.
Giving 3 to
giving 3 to the Big Ten.
Well, you want me to tell you the truth?
I'm listening.
It's 7 remaining spots, by the way.
No, 6 of the spots are already locked up.
What 6 spots are locked up?
So the 4 conference champions, the Power 4, well, the 5. So the Big 12, Big 12, ACC, SEC, Big 10, and who am I forgetting?
No, in the group of 5 team.
Hold on.
The pack ain't in this. Is the pack in this?
No, that's right. Pac-12 doesn't exist. So you're right.
It's 7 spots left.
So there is 7 spots. So there's the 4, but there's the Power 4, right?
Yeah.
Big 10, SEC, ACC, Big 12 are the 4. Then there's a guaranteed group of 5 spot, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. And then Notre Dame. So maybe 6.
You can pretty much say Notre Dame's going to be in as long as they win out. Notre Dame will be in. So that's 6 spots that are taken up.
So
3 of those. So you think like 3 of those would go to the Big Ten? Nah.
We're talking about some Big Tens. The Big Ten teams will be 1-loss teams. And should they get in over 2-loss SEC teams? And that's why I bring it back to what I was saying earlier. As FSU fans, to sit here and make that argument,
I think
there's some
hypocrisy
in it.
I think for sure the winner, obviously, I think so. In my scenario in my head, right? Ohio State gets in, Oregon gets in, and either Indiana or Penn State gets in. That's it.
Okay, so that's 3. And let's go. So we got Oregon and Ohio State running it back in a Big Ten, right? Who you got winning it?
In the Big Ten?
Yeah.
I think Ohio State. I think Ohio State beats Oregon in a rematch on a neutral site.
Okay. And the shit show that is the SEC.
the SEC's pretty good.
All right, so I'm gonna
now.
break them down for you. 3 1-loss teams right now currently: Tennessee, Texas A&M, and Texas,
and a shit ton of 2-loss teams.
It's 5 of them: Georgia, Ole Miss, Bama, Missouri, and LSU.
LSU's out. They just lost to Bama. I think LSU and Missouri are out. So you look at Missouri, they have 2 losses to A&M and Bama. I think Missouri's out. I think LSU's out. They have losses, back-to-back losses at that to A&M and Bama. LSU's out.
Okay, so
So
Ole
this really
Miss
comes
lost
really
to.
it really comes down to Bama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Texas, A&M,
So
and
Kentucky
Tennessee.
lost to. I'm sorry, Ole Miss lost to Kentucky
It
at
doesn't
LSU.
matter because they're 4-2 and have that win
They beat
against
the Georgia.
Georgia.
They beat Georgia, and they only got Florida and Mississippi
And
State left.
so the reason why it doesn't matter for Ole Miss, they have the win over Georgia,
That is a weak ass
and they
schedule,
are
boy.
at the
That's a
same
weak
conference
ass
record as
schedule
Bama.
for an SEC team. It's a weak ass schedule, bro.
For who?
Ole Miss, Furman, MTSU, Wake Forest, Georgia Southern start out. They didn't give up more than 22 points in the first 4 games, which makes sense. Then they played Kentucky and lost. Yeah, they not it to me, man. But they also beat Arkansas 63-31, which is
Yeah,
fucking.
I'm not saying they're it, but I'm saying that Georgia win's gonna go mile. I like when you look
If
at
Georgia doesn't make
okay,
it, how much do you give it? How much do you
hold
give
on.
it?
When you look at these teams, Tennessee, A&M, Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss, Bama, Georgia's out of it. Like I can put Georgia in the same category as Missouri and LSU because Georgia's 2 losses are
Even if
to
they beat
Ole Miss.
Tennessee.
Even if they beat Tennessee, it doesn't matter because their 2 losses are to Ole Miss and Bama. They will not get in the they can't get to Atlanta over Ole Miss and Bama at this point. They can't because they got 2 losses to 2 teams with the same record.
And Ole Miss doesn't play anybody that will beat
And
them anymore.
right, and Ole Miss can pretty much is
And
going to run the
Bama
table,
does not
and
play
Bama
anybody
doesn't. I
to,
mean, unless Auburn, that's always going to be like a tricky game because
you
it's
know.
Auburn and the Iron Bowl. Like Georgia can be in the same category as Missouri and LSU, just based off the records and who they've lost to. So it really comes down to Ole Miss, Bama, Texas, Texas A&M, and Tennessee. Now Tennessee and Georgia play each other. I think Georgia will beat Tennessee, which will eliminate Tennessee.
But Tennessee beat Bama. So we said
Won't,
Bama's out.
won't matter because Tennessee and Bama can still play each other in that game in the SEC
So we
championship.
basically we've eliminated everybody except Texas and Texas A&M, and we got a Big 12 championship game.
Yeah, if things
At this
stand the
point.
way it's stand, yeah, you're going to get Texas and Texas A&M.
But guess what? They play each other. So
Right, they eliminate
who's
each other
back in
too.
it? So who's back in it? Yeah.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
The problem is, Ole Miss and Bama don't play.
So you got to give it to one of them. It's Ole Miss or Bama is going to play Texas or Texas A&M.
So it's going to be, I guess, whoever ranks higher out of Ole Miss and Bama versus the winner of Texas and Texas A&M.
And let's press pause here for a
That's
second.
that is assuming Tennessee loses to Georgia, which I think they will.
We're gonna veer off right quick before we get a final choice on that. Texas A&M is competing for the SEC championship. It's possibly in the conversation for the SEC championship right after Fine Jimbo. Who saw that coming? I mean, you all right there? You good?
Yeah.
Who saw that coming?
I didn't see Elko being this good in year one. I knew Elko was a pretty good coach. I didn't think he'd be this good, though. And Georgia does not get in no matter what. I'm telling you.
It's not that clear.
Ole Miss and Bama have to lose. They have to. One of those teams have to lose. Now, if Ole Miss or Bama, if Ole Miss loses to the Gators or Mississippi State, then yes, Georgia will get in. If Bama loses to Oklahoma or Auburn, Georgia can get in. But if both of those teams went out, Georgia is there's no way. Georgia will not be in. Period.
Yeah, Georgia.
Like I said, Georgia is
Ole Miss and Bama, they can't get in over.
They
them.
can't get in over them.
And both of those teams don't look like they're going to lose at all.
Exactly. Both of those teams have pretty soft schedules.
So
down
that's
the
why
stretch.
Georgia's
Georgia's in the same category as Missouri and LSU. They won't be there. The question's going to be the question's going to be
tiebreakers keep them out of it.
The question is going to be who plays out of the winner of Tech. Who does Texas A&M or Texas play?
I get what he's saying. He's saying Georgia gets in the playoff.
They might. So the problem with Georgia getting in the playoff is that the SEC isn't as strong as it's been.
It really ain't. It's a lot.
Now we just spent 20 minutes talking about the Big Ten. The Big Ten has a better right to the more playoff spots than the SEC does. How the Big Ten stands right now.
Why the hell we was sitting there arguing?
Well, because I was just saying that I don't. Because you were arguing for Penn State.
You argue me down, but you know you said either Penn State or Indiana.
Right.
One or the other.
So that's what I'm saying. I don't. If Penn State wins out, they would get the nod over Georgia.
Okay, so based on what we said, right? All right, I just want to be clear. Based on what we said, 3 teams from the SEC, 3 teams from the Big 12.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't see how the SEC can get 3 teams in. They have too many.
Pause.
They have too many. They have too many multiple loss.
They're gonna get 3 teams in. They're getting 3 teams in. Chill. All right, so I'm gonna break it down real quick.
And I hate
ACC
that.
champ.
I
ACC
honestly,
champ.
I hate that. I don't like
ACC
that.
champ. Big Ten champ. Right. Notre Dame, group of 5. That's 4. Now we talking SEC champ, Big Ten champ. There's still shit. Somebody, what's my count there? 6 right there, right? There's 6 spots left. 7 spots. 7, so 5 spots left. It's gonna be, bro. You're putting in 2 from somewhere. 2 from, it could be 2 from each conference. On top of, actually, it's 2 and 3. It has to be 2 and 3 from the Big Ten and the SEC. One of them's gonna get 3. One of them's gonna get 2. Just the numbers, because you're not putting into SEC. You're not putting into ACC teams. You're not putting into Big 12 teams. So you're putting in.
So if BYU pulls this game out with 55 seconds left, and then their only losses in their conference championship,
I got so many goddamn windows open.
There couldn't be 2 Big 12 teams.
You talking about pushing in Colorado?
If BYU's only loss is in the conference championship to Colorado, and they're a 1-loss team, you don't think it's like now they have?
First of all, BYU's about to lose.
Well, they're driving. They got 55 seconds left. I think they're driving right now. BYU might not lose, but I mean, you're probably right.
I think BYU about to lose, but I hear you. Where my YouTube TV at? You know, even though y'all didn't like hook me up, but you know, that's neither here nor there. I'm on here. All right, the tequila ticket kicking in. I think, yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's I think you get at least 3 they in field goal range, okay. Basically, this is going to come down to a field goal.
Well, Georgia's definitely out of the SEC championship, but they would probably get a nod for the playoffs. Yeah, they probably get a nod for the playoffs.
And my thing is this:
because they do have
loses the SEC championship game. Are they out?
Yeah. So, assuming
okay, so here's what. Now this is where we get to. that playing in the SEC championship game and losing would put you out, but two teams that didn't even make the SEC championship game could get in.
Right. That's the whole. Yeah.
That's wild, bro.
That's the whole.
That's wild.
That's the whole conundrum with all of this. Late season losses always seem to hurt teams.
That's wild. That's crazy. I'm trying to. What's going on? Hurry up now. What we doing?
BYU gonna kick this field goal and win.
Are they going? You got to make the field goal still. Not everybody's Ryan Fitzgerald, bro.
I mean, you're right, but they lining it up to kick this field goal.
Oh, and Utah ain't got no more timeouts either.
Nope.
Mm.
And they put it right in the middle of the field.
All right. Well, if you see this before me, don't say shit. I'm trying to watch it too. Oh, he gonna miss this shit. Hey, in the middle of the field. That's basically on the right. On the.
I thought they had ran it in the middle of the field. I'm tripping.
You thought they would. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, see, so BYU still in there. So one loss BYU can't. I mean, I don't know, man.
A one loss BYU, we really mind that?
They'll probably get snubbed, but I mean, I guess I'm just playing the advocate.
If a go loss FSU team doesn't get in,
that's
to group to four. A one loss BYU team ain't buying. I don't think BYU beats Colorado.
Yeah, that's not the point though. The point is,
I just want to be clear about that. I don't think
they have BYU ranked at number 9. If they run the table, that's an undefeated team.
Well, at least nice wins though.
I mean, you remember TCU? Remember TCU was undefeated, lost the conference championship to Kansas State, and still made the 4-team playoff in the Big 12. So my point is, you can't just dismiss that BYU would automatically be left out. I'm not so sure they would.
You're right. I get it.
Yeah, that's just a lot of plays into that whole.
It's a lot going on. I personally got 4 Big 12 teams.
Big 10 teams, you mean?
Big 10, yeah, Big 10. 1 Big 12, 1 ACC. 4. And then when we get to the SEC, I give you 3. And then you got Notre Dame sneaking in there with the group of 5, which is going to be Boise. Is that 12? Somebody call me out on that. I think that's 12. So I don't think 2 ACC teams deserve it. I just don't see BYU as that team, bro. They got that guy. They got that kid. What's his name?
That's the thing. Like, they might not be that team. Oh, Utah, like, they're trying to do something right here.
Dude,
are you watching this?
No. What happened?
Well, they already done called the flag, but Utah out here doing their best, like, Duke impression on the kickoff with all these laterals, and it's still going on. Finally.
It's done.
But yeah.
Wait. The refs pushing them back off the field though.
Because they called a flag, and I don't know what that.
Yeah, but they usually.
But a flag on a kickoff would just be the end of the game.
Yeah, but if it's against,
unless they have to re-kick it, which I don't think they would. I think Boise State's definitely win.
Oh, Utah bench. That's weird. That's a weird call. Hey, so who Utah coach?
Utah's coach?
It was that a
Talk about
BYU
BYU.
coach. I mean,
I don't know, some Hawaiian Samoan looking dude. I don't know.
no, I'm gonna watch this play again.
Man, it's 1 o'clock. Let me get up out of here. You done kept me on way longer than I was gonna stay.
Hey man, I appreciate you let me come on and chop it up with you though.
Absolutely, y'all. I appreciate everybody who stuck with me for 3 hours. I didn't even expect to be on here that long, but as you noticed, we talked about everything but Florida
Talk about
State.
some good football.
Yeah, we talked about good shit. We didn't talk about this sorry ass 1-19. Hit the like button. Y'all know what to do. Um, and bye week. So go enjoy your bye week, and we'll catch y'all
Right.
after the bye week, y'all.
Hey, we not losing next week. I guarantee it.
Whatever. It doesn't. Whatever.
I'm gonna holler at y'all boys. Take it easy,
All right,
man.
Y'all have a good rest of y'all night. As always, it's your boy POLK 863 Seminole TV. Stay classy. We are out here. Go Noles.